We're Arctic Monkeys. This is Don't Believe the Hype.
That rock and roll, eh? Ladies! That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question. Cheers, dude.
That man just yawned.
We're gonna call it,
Don't Believe the Hype.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Don't Believe the Hype, the podcast dedicated to covering the entire discography of Arctic Monkeys in chronological order. I'm your host, Justin, and tonight's episode is Series 5, Episode 15, where we will be talking about You're So Dark, the third and last official B-side from the album AM. But before we get into all that, first let me introduce my co-host and creator of this podcast. He's the kind of guy who doesn't shun the daylight, but if you're wearing a leather spike collar, he's willing to start. It's Dan. Welcome, Dan.
You don't know how close to the truth you are. Yeah, it's a question of what lyric from this I'm gonna put in the notes for this episode. Am I gonna tell people to get down on all fours and listen to the episode, or who knows? But yeah, no. Hi, we're here. It's the last track of this era.
This is it. Can't believe we're here
This is
already. Even though, I mean, we started in May. It's now August. It'll come out in September, but it just feels like it flew by in a way.
I guess from my perspective, it is a lot sooner because normally, like, we still have quite a few weeks once we get into the B-sides, like
Yeah.
for the album. So normally, like, there's like seven maybe. Like Humbug was like loads. Obviously, that's why we were so knackered by the end of it. But like, I think last Second See wasn't as many, but still quite. So it's like six, five or six, something like that.
Something
So
like that, yeah.
to now three is like, okay, wow, okay, we've done it. It just feels like we've just done a little bit of a longer album, really. It doesn't really feel, and then I suppose next season will just be like
just
an
be a
album
regular
length. It'll just be a
album.
regular album, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange, but yeah, we're here. But it's a good one to end on. It's a strong end for me
Yeah.
personally. I mean, looking at it figures wise and stuff, when we get to that, it's obviously not as big as last week's for the
For the
fandom, you
fans,
might
yeah.
say. But I would be interested to hear from people on like what their kind of where they rank it. Do they rank it highly, or is it just kind of you've got the horror link,
Yeah.
Justin? I really love the track for so many reasons that we'll get into, but obviously and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to hear from other people, I suppose, where it ranks. But we are getting slightly ahead there because we haven't played the clip to talk about what we think of it yet. I think people already knew from last week that I like this one. So, um, but before we do, we don't have much admin apart from I just wanted to say initially that I was listening back to the knee socks and there was a bit in that where Alex says you made everything all right, and in that episode I was saying to you, "What song is that? Is that another Arctic Monkey song where they use that same line? They use that same line?" And then I text you a couple of weeks ago because it occurred to me that if anyone has seen the dinner party episode of the US Office, there's a song that Jan's assistant Hunter makes for her that she sings it says you made everything all right, and that's what it was that I was going, what is that song that uses that line as well? So there you go, it was the song from The Office. um but yeah, we do have so for the wrap up, so people know the wrap up is next week. This isn't the last episode obviously, but it is the last track. But for the wrap up, we have confirmed Simon Love will be
He's
joining us.
coming on,
Mr.
the
Love
infamous, yeah.
coming on. The infamous, the man, the myth, the legend, the new Justin.
Yeah, the new
Justin
me.
2.0. Yeah. You're the host 2.0, and now he's the Justin 2.0. He's coming on. Maybe we got some music insight for us because from a musical like instrumental point of view,
Yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah,
with me
yeah.
being a musician. But I don't want to put too much weight on you there. You
Pressure
might
you.
be like, oh, yeah, be like, no, I really don't. So yeah, we've confirmed you coming on. Unfortunately, because of the way we record this and time zones and that Mr. Christopher Gale couldn't make it, but he is going to send us some recordings that we can play of each clip, of each segment, so that we can share his thoughts as well and discuss them between us. He did share with me his thoughts, some thoughts on AM, but I'll keep them under my hat for the wrap up. But I did ask him what his favorite era was, and he told me, what he said the other day was because at this point of recording, the 2013 episode hasn't come out yet for people. And he messaged me to say that he thinks that's an okay song that gets a bad rep, and he's a bit of a defender of it, and he hopes that one of us is. And I said, well, no worries there because
Buddy.
I was a defender of that track, so hopefully I did it. And he said, glad to hear that there's another defender out there.
Mm.
Of course, it's not the best song, far from it, but it's a B-side. It's got license to be a bit of a laugh and do things you wouldn't get away with as an album track. I mean, he doesn't know it because he hasn't listened to it yet. But
Mm.
that's pretty much what I was saying, wasn't it, on the episode? So we've got
Yeah.
we're on the same thought process there, Mr. Gale. He said he would much rather have songs like 2013 than have no B-sides at all, like The Car. I think some people would probably say they'd rather have nothing than 2013, but I don't agree either with them. He did share that his favorite era is Humbug. He loves every song on the album, and talking of B-sides, for me, they are the best part of any era. I think you think they're the best B-sides, do you?
Well, actually, I don't mean to be that guy, but I still think the first album and Favorite Worst Nightmare have really good. I think like the first three albums are just all incredible. I don't know. It's tough, honestly, because like Settle for a Draw, No Buses, but then you have Too Much to Ask and The Bakery. They're all good, really. Those first three eras are hard to beat.
He said towards the end of their Humbug tour, they did a gig in Shepherd's Bush, which is a place in London. In case you're wondering what Shepherd's Bush is,
Uh-huh.
where they played Humbug, and a lot of the B-sides with no songs from other albums played. Would kill to go back and see that. So would I. I didn't even
Wow,
know
yeah,
about
that
that.
sounds great.
Wow, I've always wanted them to do
I'm gonna
something
look
like that,
up
and I
that
missed
set
it.
list and see if it's on like Setlist FM or something.
Yeah, have a look. He
Hmm.
says, and he's going to be happy to record and share stuff with us for the wrap up. So he will be involved.
You know what?
But
I'm
it'd be
glad that
cool.
he is. I'm glad that he is involved because as far as like all the people that kind of contribute to this podcast now at the point, so Nick's favorite era was the first one, so he represented that really well. I always defend and talk about Favorite Worst Nightmare. Now he's here for Humbug, which is our first, and then you are there for Second and C to represent Second and C. I guess that nobody's really against AM. I guess we haven't had a specific
No.
AM number one fan, but that gets enough love anyway. So,
It's
and
funny that, isn't it?
tranquility,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's one of them where it's not an album that you can love, even though it's a good album. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I couldn't imagine someone like loving this album so much that it's like their special album. Like it's a really good album and we all like it, but it doesn't feel like an album that you could love. Whereas like Humbug feels like an album that someone could love. Favorite Worst Nightmare. So I can say they all just feel like you could see someone fall in love with that album and getting attached to it. Tranquility as well. So yeah, maybe it's too good for its own good. To be like truly loved by a fan.
I found this Shepherd's Bush playlist and it's awesome.
Oh,
I've
go
never, I
on.
wonder if there's a recording of this. I would love it if there was. It was 15 tracks. They played a 15, which is short for their set, but they essentially played the album. So they played it
Wow.
in order: My Propeller, Crying Lightning, Dangerous Animal, Secret Door, Potion Approaching, Fire and the Thud full band live debut. So that's the first
Ooh.
time they played it as a band.
Wait. So they're gonna play Frightline Dining Room. Oh my God, this is an amazing
Well,
achievement.
no.
Ah,
They
okay, okay.
played Cornerstone, Dance of the Liar, Pretty Visitors, Jeweler's Hand. So they played the album in order. Then Encore. So I guess they left. They came back. They played this Nettles,
Oh,
the only one
nice,
from Favorite Worst Nightmare. Sketchhead, Catapult, Joining the Dots, and they closed it out with Red Right Hand. Damn.
nice.
What?
That le
That like that would be incredible.
that must have been like a special gig for people like invited or like as like the fan release like small gig where you could because like the average like well, look we're only going to play this it must have been advertised as we're only going to play this album pretty
I
much
guess
so
so.
that
I wish they would do that
because
with every album, to be honest with you.
yeah, I always want them to do that, or at least do some kind of like recording of a full album,
Yeah.
for us to watch if we can't get there and stuff. So yeah, I always want that. I don't know why bands don't just play the full album in a go and you, but um, but yeah, well that would have been cool to go to.
Mm,
Um, but it's yeah, Humbug. I think Nettles kind of lends itself to what we said at the end when we did Nettles. It was the last track of Favourite Nightmare era, I believe, and we sort of said this kind of makes sense that Humbug follows this
sure.
track. because it does. So I guess they, um, yeah, I guess they noticed that. But it's that's it. That's what he says. So Christopher will be joining us. It'd be nice maybe at some point for us to do a humbug revisit. Maybe
Mm.
on the well, in 2029 it'll be 20 years old.
Wow, yeah. Ugh.
But yeah, it'd be nice to somehow do a revisit of that with Christopher on, and you only got to do like a bit on the wrap up, so your kind of thoughts on
Mm.
it as a whole as well. So yeah, we'll see about that in the future. Kind of as we get the next two eras, we're gonna have a lot more time to do other content, I suppose.
Sure.
Um, but do you want to have a listen to You're So Dark then
Yes, let's
live?
listen to it live.
Now this is a mobile phone recording, I think, so it isn't perfect, but it's all we got, guys. It's all we got. So let's have it.
And you're so mysterious from that obsession with death. I saw you driving your Prius, and even that was monster coach-esque. Watching Italian horror, following Goblin on tour.
That was the live clip. That was interestingly with the track being themed. So was it the Hollywood Forever Cemetery on the 5th of May 2018? It's the
I
day
was
of the
about to
Tranquility.
say, you know what I was about to say? I was going to say, oh, that's interesting that because it sounded like more the Tranquility Tour, his voice. I was about to say, like, oh, was that when he started first kind of doing that style of voice back in 2013? But oh, okay, no, they didn't play it until 2018 then. Okay.
Yeah, well, when we get to the information and the setlist stuff, there's a bit of yeah, when they seem to do it for this particular period.
Hmm.
But yeah, obviously they decided to do it at the Forever Cemetery gig, which I don't know what that venue is, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Like I have no idea, is it in a cemetery?
No.
But obviously quite apt with the track. So yeah, I guess we share our thoughts on it. I love it, love it, love it. I from day one hearing it really connected with it. It is actually like it was for a long time became my favorite B-side. I think there's only one that maybe rivals it, which we haven't covered yet. So that kind of says there's only one more B-side
Yeah,
left. So
that's
like,
right.
may
Yeah,
as well just
there's
say it,
only
right?
just the
Anyway,
one.
anyways is like I love anyways, and it might be a good rival for it. But this song, I love the vibe of it. I love what they're doing musically in it. That we'll get to. Obviously, particularly Nick is killing it, and Helders. But I love the feel of it. I love the sexiness of it. I actually used to. I always felt like this was kind of like the dark version of Arabella. You know, the kind of lyrically and the sort of thematically. I used to call it the Arabella Donna of Sadness, which is a very good joke if you know. Which then it's weird because I used to call it that, and then when Alex did Alexandra Saviour's album, that was called
Mm.
Belladonna of Sadness. So there's obviously a link there of this sexy woman, but in this kind of goth woman, this dark woman, I guess, who I think maybe there's a bit of in there in the lyrics of like, could he get her? Because she's so different, but he wants her. There's some really like straightforward kind of explicit stuff, like quite harsh stuff that you don't normally hear Alex do. I think sexually, like quite like us. Like I want you down on all fours. That's quite to the line. Like there's no other way of taking that, and it's kind of brutal, which I guess kind of goes with the theme, and it feels very almost bondagey at times. This song, I don't know what's going on with this girl, but yeah, there's some really cool references in it. I love the BVs in it. I'm very interested to hear what you think of the BVs in it because we know that you've had some problems before with some of them. And I've had some problems with some of them as well, but you had a problem with knee socks and I didn't. So it's interesting
Mm.
to hear what you
A
think
little
about this
more,
one.
a little. Yeah, you really
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that
tiny,
bridge.
tiny bit more. Yeah. We were
And
slightly different.
also, I want it all. Same kind of vibe. You like really
Yeah.
love that part. And I was like, eh.
Yeah, yeah. But other than that, I think we've pretty much. I mean, neither of us really like snap out of it once, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love it. I love everything about it. I love the there it has actually has my favorite use of a backing vocal that makes me smile and laugh every time. To say Edgar Allan Poe and then have someone go Poe is like so funny to me. To have this sort of hip hoppy R&B backing vocal with Edgar Allan Poe is just something I don't think any other band would ever do. Like it's crazy. But like there's some cool really references in there as well. One of the ones where we see some of Alex again that we saw in Knee Socks and this, that kind of film and book and pop culture, which started to feed in a lot more now and will feed in, obviously, to Tranquility a hell of a lot. And yeah, I just think the Vice, but aside from all that stuff, it's just fucking sexy as fuck and a great listen. And I always enjoy it, and it always makes me smile, and it always makes me nod my head and vibe to it. To me, it's just like perfect. And I said something last week, which I wish I hadn't said, but I said it, which was I wasn't sure that this one should be on the album because of some of the lyrics. But I don't know why I said that. I think I was kind of caught up in the stop the worlds kind of stuff. But I actually do think this should be on the album. We can do pick that up as a hot take. I would happily, but I don't know. I'd have to lose a track that I like because I'm already losing Snap Out of It for Stop the World, which I do think should be on there. So I think both these B-sides should be on the album, and we can kind of figure that out. We've got some planned in the wrap up for that, haven't we, as well? So, but we can do a hot take at the end on that. But yeah, I just think it's an absolute jam, and I would have loved it to have been on the album as well. But at the same breath, I can see why it's a B-side, so I'm not going to argue with them. I just want it on the album.
Hmm.
But I think I can see why it's a B-side. Perhaps lyrically, like maybe just them having a bit too much fun with the backing vocals, maybe is why it lends itself to a B-side. But yeah, but we can debate that later. But yeah, you obviously lyrically we know perhaps there's a link there. Are you doing a horror podcast? But what do you think of this one then?
Yeah, so I really like this one. It's never been my favorite B-side, but I would say even now it's probably top 10. I've always thought about it favorably. And I would say that this is their kind of like best joke song that they have, like where they're like clearly having fun with something in that kind of way. Your brick by brick,
Mm-hmm,
sure. Don't Sit Downs, 2013, stuff like that. I would say that it's,
hmm
IDST. I think it's their best kind of like joke type of song that's like pulled off really well in like the theme and how the music matches with that theme and stuff. Of course, obviously I love the horror themes going on in here and the references to like Italian films and some of
mm
the gothic stuff going on because even like so I do have a horror podcast, and I mentioned this in the pre-wrap up, or I mean the pre-show, but I'll mention again that in 2023 I wrote an article that references this song and others that where Alex has talked a lot about horror, that floats the idea of Alex potentially writing a horror type of album because he's so focused on films these days. So maybe we'll link that like in the show notes or something like that. But
hmm
it's up on my other podcast website, straightchillingpodcast.com. So you can check that out. We'll link it in. But yeah, I kind of agree where I think it absolutely could be on the album and I would be fine with it being on the album. But at the same time, it's such a unique song that I could see it staying as a B or like I have no problem with it being a B-side as well because it's a very unique song. Um, but I think there is a place for it on the album, which we'll talk about in our wrap up next week for sure. And yeah, I like this song. I dig it. I've always liked this song, and it gets a lot of play on the Halloween playlist. Which also,
Right.
as we're getting close to Halloween, maybe I'll save it closer to the date. But I also have on Spotify an Arctic Monkeys exclusive
Hmm.
Halloween playlist. So if you're looking
Wow.
for a Halloween
When
party
I
playlist only monkeys, then I got it.
when I put these up into the system, I'll get links from you
Mm,
for both of those things. Or yeah, maybe just share that one on Halloween or the lead up to Halloween. That'd be probably
mm,
better. But it's interesting what you say about the jokiness because I think the reason why it works better is 2015, all that, just them taking the piss fully for me, and brick by brick, like let's write a stupid song together, you know. This one, it feels like there's a seed of truth. I do believe there is a girl, much like Arabella, but on this one, he's gone down the road of I'm gonna have on Arabella, it's more descriptive terms to describe this hot woman. This one, I do believe there was a woman who he was attracted to that was perhaps a darker person than he's usually used to. But I think he's just decided to have more fun with it on
Mm.
this one, and he just decided to go with rather than going too descriptive. He's decided to go down the like the funnier lines than the more serious, like rather than like I've got wrapped around a little finger, she's on my mind, all that kind of stuff. She's got a 70s head. He's gone more to Monster Coach-esque, and I actually it's funny you brought that bit up because that's probably to hear something so pretentious done so well and perform so well as she watched Italian horror and she listens to the score, the way he builds that up. It's so funny because but I think as well, I do get but the attractiveness of the woman comes through to me as well. When I hear it, I do think, God, yeah, she sounds great. So it's kind of like, and I know like someone that would, I'm like him, like a goth girl wouldn't go for me. I'm not that kind of vibe for them, but I certainly would see a girl like that. I've always said, I think I said previously that I always imagine Jesse's girlfriend that dies from
Oh
Jamie in
yeah,
Breaking
yeah.
Bad. And I think around this time, they were really big fans of Breaking Bad. And Breaking Bad
Mm.
ended the same year that AM came out. And I always wondered, like, is it possibly about that actress? Because that actress is known for kind of darker characters. I think she's in that new Dexter at the moment, actually, for a
She's in
Sins.
that Jessica Jones Marvel show
Yes.
that Netflix had. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was, yeah, and she was in that the bitch in Apartment 13 or something like that sitcom. But yeah, she tends to play those kind of characters, I guess. But yeah, I love it. I do love it a lot. And in terms of being on the album, it is a difficult one. It is a difficult one because when I listen to it, after I listen to it, I go, yeah, I want that on the album. And then when I think about it, and I think, yeah, but would it be too much for on the album? Are the lyrics too funny? But then again, they put Don't Sit Down on an album, which is also
Yeah,
basically a comedy song, you know.
true. That's a good point.
In fact, it's an entirely a comedy song because because the whole concept is don't sit down because I move your chair, which is ridiculous.
Hmm.
But like so, yeah. Actually, yeah, they would put this on the album because they put. Yeah, I'm having it on the album. Sorry, but anyway, let's um let's get some information on it, shall we, before we get into the in
Yeah.
depths of it all. But it's good to know we're both fans. No issues that you didn't mention any issues with the BVs or anything there, or are we going to get to that later? Do you have any reservations?
Um,
Or
no.
do you think you'd have more reservations on the BVs if it was an album track?
No, I don't think so. They never really bothered me. No.
Okay.
I think it's,
Um,
what the two where it really that like have stuck out to me of like kind of bothering me the most was where they take on a full bridge where it's like just the
mm,
BB, just the falsettos taking this kind of like main lead, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so no, I don't have really a problem with them being background backup vocals, you know.
Yeah, and it is a funny way of doing it, I think, as well, on some of the ones on this one. But let's get to some information.
The information action ratio. Ain't that the place to go?
Ooh, I'm gonna do it. We
Oh,
haven't done it
yeah,
this
no, we
era.
haven't. No,
Yeah, we
no.
did do it at all.
I've been shy. Maybe because I'm the not because I was the person that just sat there and the jingles played.
Ah, I
It'd give
see.
me
Now you
I'd be
gotta
more thinking
focus.
about it. Now I've got to focus on doing it, so I don't.
It's like, oh, this is the last episode of the era. We gotta do it at least once.
Got to do it. Yeah, got to. But You're So Dark is 3 minutes and 2 seconds long with 43.4 million streams on Spotify. So like, I don't know, four times less than last week because last week was the
Yeah.
biggest beat size ever. So, obviously not, which I think is a shame. I don't understand why because I think it should be, but that is a lot. But I think it should be more.
Hmm.
Really, it's a bit strange that
It's a little
there's nothing wrong.
surprised
There's
it's
nothing
not
wrong with
more.
it.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with it. And You're So Dark, it served as the B-side for the single One for the Road, which is a nice pairing, I think. As a bit, if you
Hmm.
had the vinyl, you play One for the
I think
Road.
I have this vinyl. I'm pretty sure I
Ooh.
do.
I think it's a nice pairing to go from that kind of vibe of One for the Road into this. It's got a nice feel.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, if they'd done Knee Socks as a single, which I think they should have, they could have. This would have been a good B-side for Knee
Yes, I
Socks.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. Probably a decent B-side for Arabella as well, actually. What was the B-side for Arabella? Was that?
They didn't release
No, no,
vinyl.
no,
They
that.
said
Oh,
they
they were.
were,
Just, oh, yeah,
remember,
yeah. It
they
was
said
just.
that they had considered it and were like, oh, does that mean that there was a B-side out there? Remember which,
Oh, yeah. I think the last few I've decided were like Domino Records fodder. Like we just need to get more out because this album's
yeah.
huge, type kind of thing. Especially Snap Out of It, as we
I
discovered
wish they
from.
would have, you know what? If Domino would have pushed them more to actually do vinyls, maybe it would have been like a Are You Mine type of situation, like get back in the studio and record
Yeah.
something.
Or although I wonder what they make more money out of because maybe like because they toured this a lot, so maybe they were just like,
Yeah,
no, keep touring because that's making
true,
shitloads. Keep
true.
going for. I think 3 years was it or something like that. So,
Not that
or
quite
two,
that
two, two
long.
years, two
Two
years,
years
which is longer than
straight.
they
2 years
normally just do
straight. Yeah.
one. So yeah, 2 years
Yeah.
straight that is a long time to tour to be fair. But yeah, although they could have dropped if they had done another single, they could have. Oh, for one of them, they could have dropped the "Why Do You Only Call When You." See, what they should have done is they should have put as the "Why Do You Only Call When You" high B side, like the "Why Do You Only Call Me" other version, because like when when you buy like
Mm,
a track and they've got like the remix
it
as
is.
the
That's
B side.
true. That's
Yeah,
what they should have done.
should have
Damn.
done.
We need
Oh
to
well.
manage the monkeys.
Yeah, if we manage them, everything will be fine. If you ever want to leave Domino, we're here. We're here and ready.
Yes.
Released December 9th, 2013 is the fourth single off the album. It's available in the 7-inch vinyl format, which you have, and as a digital download. On the 6th of December, so 3 days before, the Arctic Monkeys released the B-side's official audio track onto YouTube, so it was released before the vinyl came out. Now, I will say this, that on Spotify, the production of this album is omitted. It's blank. There is no James Ford and Ross Orton, so we only have to guess
Do you
that
want
it
me to
was
check the
done.
vinyl?
Oh, if you got the vinyl, yeah, that'd be
Let me go
great.
check
That's,
that.
that's
It's right over here. I'll
yeah.
be right back. You keep
Well,
going.
okay, I'll keep going. I'll keep going. Excellent stuff. We're gonna get confirmation on that. The song is 152 beats per minute and is in the key of B. So you get a nice one there. Um, it has been played live 7 times by the band. First on May 2nd, 2018 at the Observatory North Park, San Diego, and lastly October 3rd, 2018 at Walmart Theatre, Seattle. So just to let you know that, Justin, it was played 7 times by
Okay,
the
only
band.
7. I would have thought more, to be honest.
And it was only in 2018, but it was between May to October, so it doesn't seem like it was on the same tour. They first played it in San Diego, and then they lastly played it in Seattle. So maybe the American tour would have been longer in this album, wouldn't it? So they played it 7 times during the American tour, which is where a lot of these songs get trotted out. To be fair, so you could have seen it. You might have seen it. When
In
did you? I know you didn't see them in 2018, did you?
No, no, no. I saw them was 2014, but I have some information, some
Ooh.
good old vinyl. So if any, yeah, this is behind the scenes. I have it. It's still okay. So this is why it's good to have physical media sometimes. So
Hmm.
it has on the back, which I appreciate, all the stuff, words by Alex Turner, music by Arctic Monkeys, published, and then it has specifically One for the Road. So I know this is separate. So it has One for the Road, produced by James Ford, co-produced by Ross Orton, engineered, all that's a mix, mastered, all for One for the Road. Then separately, You're So Dark, recorded and mixed. So this goes against what we were talking about, I think, last
Hmm.
week. Recorded and mixed by Vance Powell at Sputnik Sound, Nashville, Tennessee,
Oh,
assisted by Eddie Spear. Video by Focus Creeps. Oh, so that would be for One for the Road. But okay, so completely different studio, completely different recording.
Vance. Yeah, because last week definitely was Ford and Ross Orton.
Yeah,
So
Vance
this is like the only one. Vance
Powell.
Powell is an American six-time Grammy award-winning record producer, engineer, and mixer. His credits include Fish, Chris Stapleton, Jack White, Tyler Bryant, The Raconteurs, The Dead Weather, The White Stripes, Arctic Monkeys, Wolf Mother, Deadly Apple, Seasick Steve, So they must have like been on tour maybe and been like, we want to go in and record this song, and this guy who's a
Just
legend.
this one song, yeah. So
That's
they could have
amazing.
had a B-side for Air. I wonder if they recorded anything else in this session.
Yeah, do you remember that with the Rock on Tours? They were that kind of indie group with Jack White in front of them.
Jack
He
White, yeah.
recorded, yeah, he won awards for recording their album, first album. He's done a
Ooh,
lot. Chris Stapleton is a country music singer apparently, and he won Grammys for doing his album. You'll probably
hmm.
know him more than I would.
Actually, I don't know who
Um,
that is.
oh, okay. C6 Steve, I know him. He recorded his album. He's done a lot of. He must do a lot of. Well, where's he based? Nashville, did it say? So
Yeah, it said Nashville.
Kings of
Sputnik
Leon,
Sound, Nashville, Tennessee.
Jack White's album Blunderbuss. A lot of people I don't recognize that I assume are like country singers.
Hmm.
Danger Mouse did
Okay.
one of his albums. Yeah, so this is like a big guy. So they must have just gone in. Hang on. Oh no, that's a bit of a black mark on his. He
Oh.
did Jack White and Alicia Keys, Another Way to Die for the Quantum of Solace. Shit song, shit movie.
Hmm.
But terrible movie. But yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. So that's cool. So they must have just done it in his studio for a couple of days or something while they were on tour, maybe.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of, I mean, we're still going to play the game and talk about it, but I guess that goes against the idea that they left this off the album. It sounds like they recorded it,
Wouldn't have been able to be, yeah.
wouldn't have been able to be, but I'm still going to put it on there, of course. But
Well, it's never stopped us before.
of course
A
not.
lot of
No. But
In fact,
but
Evil Twin was you put Evil Twin on
exactly.
it, yeah.
Yeah. But interesting, very interesting for that they went in and recorded this
I never knew that.
specifically. Yeah.
Because this doesn't have a Wikipedia page. It didn't come up anywhere in my information. So without that vinyl, we never would have known that. What else are we missing about the vinyls? I do want to
Yeah.
get my hands on the singles. It's just such an expensive venture to get them all, like, for
Yeah.
no reason. By
Once
the
this
way, we
podcast takes off, we're just gonna spend all the money
just spend the
on
money on
both of us
vinyls.
getting all the
Actually,
whole
yeah.
collection. Sign up
But
now on
sign
Patreon.
up now and we can get all the vinyl singles, please.
And we can keep it,
Um,
but we give you this good, rare information that you wouldn't otherwise know. No Wikipedia
yeah,
page.
no one who knew that. Who knew that?
We should
None
add
of
to
you
the
listening
Wikipedia
knew
page
that.
and we'll add a note, by Don't Believe the Hype podcast.
Yeah, yeah, we'll create the Wikipedia page for it. Yeah, we probably could do that, couldn't we? But yeah, by the way, in the pre-show we did a Ryan Gosling's band, Dead Man's Bones album, which is a really good album, a good review. So go to Attic Podcast, no, patreon.com/Attic Podcast to sign up to hear that because it's a very good album. Go listen to the album as well, and it links well to the song.
Yeah,
And by
especially
the
if
way,
you like
Justin.
this song, like if you really love this song, then I think you would really like Dead Man's Bones.
Yeah, and you can buy that vinyl Dead Man Bones for $30 on an eBay, which is quite reasonable. So if you want
Yeah,
to
I
spend $30
probably
on
will
it,
if they'll ship it to
yeah.
Korea.
Yeah, whatever yeah, I don't know what the Korean
Yeah.
shipping would be. But that is the so yeah, so you didn't hear that. So it's in the key of B, 152 beats per minute, and yeah, 7 times just on the American tour in 2018. The Tranquility. Oh, we're talking about they toured that for 2 years. It was on the Tranquility tour. What are we talking about? We're talking about we got all mixed up before. We were saying that they you thought they'd do it separately. They played 2 years for this, but they didn't do it during AM. They did it during Tranquility, which would have just been a normal tour. So it seems like they toured the US from May to November though for the Tranquility tour because they did it. They played it first in San Diego in May, and then they played it last in October 23rd in Seattle.
Okay.
Unless they just did it, I reckon they did it 6 times in the summer, and then because that gig was close to Halloween, they did it again in Seattle. Maybe that probably
So
explains it.
strange.
Very
It's
strange.
cool. You know what though? I like that though because it always gives you know what? If you were living in 2013, 2014, the tour ended and you're like, "Oh, they're never gonna play You're So Dark. We'll never hear that live." And then they come out with a new album and then they start touring and they play You're So Dark. Like, that's great. That's awesome. There's always hope. There's always hope.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would have wanted to have heard it on the AM tour, but I don't know if it was out when I saw them on the AM tour. The album came out in September. I think I saw him. I don't know when I saw him. I get probably November, December, I would imagine.
I
So
don't know when this
I
vinyl is
think it
though.
was this. I think it was this December 9th.
Just
It
says
may have come out.
2013.
You know what? I bet it came out just as they started the UK tour, actually.
Mm.
because I seem to remember it being near Christmas, and this came out on December 9th. The vinyl came out on December 9th,
Okay.
2013. So I would assume that, yeah, maybe this dropped just before they start the UK tour. They tend to drop a single just on the day they start the UK tour. That tends to be what happens. So I'd probably just heard this and thought, oh, they're gonna play it. But yeah, it would have been nice. You know, it's interesting though. Stop the World, biggest B-side, Arctic Monkeys B-side, never played live. You're So Dark, 7 times.
Yeah. 5 years later. five
Better
years
track in
after
my
it's
opinion.
released.
Better
Yeah.
track in my opinion. So there you go. But let's get into some technology on it.
Technological advances really blooming get me in the mood.
Ooh, you got me going now. But yeah, it's actually be so weird to hear that actual version because I've
Yeah,
heard that
yeah.
clip so many times when we cover it where he doesn't say Bloomin', does he, on the version? But um, so if you want to recreate again, very specific, if you want to create the sound of this one, you need a Gibson Memphis reissue, a Fender Silverface Twin Reverb running into a Riviera K12 with Celestion G12 M65 speakers, a Strymon Flint, a Walrus Audio Julia, Origin Effects Cali 76 compressor, TC Electronic Flashback 2, and an Electro Harmonics Pog 2, which is a pedal I have used actually, Electro Harmonics Pog 2, because I think Electro Harmonics make the big muff, right? And I've
Yeah,
definitely
they
used a
do.
Pog one. I was a Pog 2, but I used a Pog one. Maybe Simon in the wrap up can give us some. We can go through the gear and he might tell us a bit about some of the pedals and stuff like that, being a musician.
Yeah.
Oh, again, don't want to put any pressure on you in case you have no idea what what it is. But yeah, there you go. You want to recreate the not much like sort of differentiating guitar in this
It's
track.
not
So, but yeah,
super special, yeah, sounding, like unique
yeah,
sounding, I guess.
yeah, not really. Guitar is not the main feature of this one, but Justin,
You could say they're selling like ghost cookies.
Ooh, here we go. Ooh, here we go.
for
Last
one
one.
week on for 1 week on the 21st of December 2013, so Christmas week, the Christmas charts,
Okay, because it came
Christmas
out in
number
2000 or in December 3rd, you
December,
said.
ni-
Okay.
December 9th, yeah.
Yeah.
So it could have been the Christmas number one. Who knows? But no, it wasn't. In specifically the indie singles chart, if you remember, Stop the World got into the main chart at like 74 or something like that. This is the indie singles chart that
Okay.
this got into for 1 week on the 21st December 2013. So like 2 weeks after its release. What number in the chart? Do you mean? And it did make it into the top 50, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Indie chart.
18.
Mm. That is fucking scarily close.
Damn it. I'm always like, I've gotten so close so many times.
It's 17.
Mm.
When I was
Damn.
17.
Damn.
Yeah, but I'll give you that. I think anything within sort of five is pretty impressive. So yeah, 17. It got to number 17 in the indie chart for 1 week at Christmas. A lovely time to listen to this
Cool.
Christmas, this track. So there you go. Potentially the last time, I don't know how many Ghost Cookies they're going to be next series, to be quite honest with you. We'll
Yeah.
find out. Yeah, maybe certainly the last B-side. I would imagine the last B-side Ghost. Don't quote me on that because anyways might have sneaked in there, but this could be the last
Yeah.
B-side Ghost Cookies of all
Isn't it crazy to
time.
think we just have one? I mean, we have two albums left, but just one B-side left.
I know. This is
No
the
weird.
penultimate B-side. This is the penultimate Arctic Monkey
Penultimate,
B-side.
yes, I know what that means now.
Means, you know what that means now. Who said this isn't educational? You found out who recorded You're So Dark. Justin learned penultimate. But yeah, there you go. Well, let's get to reviews of this one.
4 stars, 4 stars, 4 stars out of 5.
Now, Far Out Magazine did a list of the 10 most underrated Arctic Monkeys songs, and they put You're So Dark at number 4.
Nice.
Many of Many of Arctic Monkeys' B-sides are strong standalone songs, and You're So Dark is no different. A B-side to One for the Road, You're So Dark brings to the fore the edgy aesthetic that AM came to be known for. Lyrically, Turner sings about admiration for someone who represents everything that draws him in. It captures the fascination through an array of references to revered novelists, possessions, and attitudes. This song seems to be something of a love letter to the AM era. It speaks to the knee socks and dark nail polish wearing indie heads that crafted their entire look around the record, validating their own self image and reveling the fact that their tastes are desirable to the band's frontman. The lyrics may seem performative to the outsider, but the darkness of this particular era is so iconic of Arctic Monkeys' history that it's forgivable. Plus, it's just pure fun. The darkness of this era, I mean, perhaps we can pick that up in the lyrics. That's a different take on the song than I've
Mm.
heard before. I didn't know whether we had ever seen this list before, the underrated tracks. Let's get to that point where I'm like, have we done this
Yeah,
list
I'm not.
before?
It gets to a point, yeah, I mean, God, there's so many episodes now at this point that if you did that, I wouldn't remember it.
No, no one listening probably. But so, so with that in mind,
That sound means it's the end of the round. Time for the bonus question.
what do you reckon they have as the most underrated?
Now, let me clarify, underrated Arctic Monkey song or underrated B-side? Is it B-side
Underrated
exclusive?
songs, not B-side
Songs.
exclusive.
Wow,
It's not B-side
that's
exclusive.
really hard to pin
That
down. What
there
era is it
are
from?
AM.
Oh, it's from AM,
Mm, it's from this
and
era.
it's number
This is,
one.
by the way, as we do this list, this is a rare list that is featuring songs from the car as well. So
Okay.
we will have to go through. But this is, yeah, this is what they're classing as the most underrated Arctic Monkey song, and it's from the AM era, an album which isn't known for underrated
Underrated
tracks.
songs, yeah. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna also say because of its status, I'm gonna say that it's maybe Stop the World then because of its B-side status and everything.
It is Stop the World.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
They
Interesting.
say they say it's a great. But I think even though it's not underrated, 'cause it's the most streamed B side, but it is underrated because it's a B side. I'm guessing is where they're
Hmm.
kind of going with that, like you say. The second on the list, so they're saying this is the second most underrated track of Arctic Monkeys. It's from the car. So they're saying this song doesn't
And
get its
there's no
dues.
B-side. So,
No, it's an album track. Yeah, it's an album track.
oh
I will tell you that
no.
because there's no other way around
Can
it.
I have to look at I am not familiar enough with the track
Oh,
listing. Let me just
he's
look up
doing a
really quick.
Helders, doing a Helders, having to listen to American sports.
Yeah. The car. Okay. Ooh, it's been a while since I listened to this album, to be honest. The most underrated. I'm gonna say Jet Skis on the Moat.
No, they have Hello You as the second most
Oh,
underrated Arctic song,
okay.
which is probably fair because I think that's a lot of people's favorite on the album, isn't it? So that's probably a
Yeah, and it
fair.
was gonna be like a single, like they teased it or something
Yes,
as a single, which is
they did.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wonder if there was a B-side to that because they sort of teased it and then
They
put it
did.
away.
They said that there was one song. Oops, I
Oh,
accidentally played the song. They said that there
oh,
was a song that they really liked that they ultimately didn't put on the car
mm.
that they thought was going to be like one of the lead singles for the album.
Very
And for
strange.
some reason, they didn't put it on.
It's
Like they
very
didn't think
strange,
it
isn't it?
fit or something.
How to have it and think it's a lead single and then not release it at all is very strange, isn't
Yeah, I
it? So
think they
maybe
just
the
didn't fit like the overall
Do you think
sound.
ever think Alex is like, let me keep this one because I might do something different with it in the future, like on a solo project or something? And they're
Could
like, yeah,
be.
sure, whatever.
Could be.
So maybe it'll make an appearance on the next album, like in a changed fashion. Maybe they see something with it, and that's they've never done that before, but they are changing the way they do things like
Yeah.
progressively every time. So, on the car. I was kind of so for my holiday, I was like me and you were a bit Spotify playlisty, aren't we, people? But I always make it. So I was making a playlist for in the day
Mm-hmm.
to like play through the speakers and stuff like that if we're um and that's kind of more vibey, obviously holiday type tracks, a lot of AM on there, really, as well. But then in the evening, more chilled one for like a couple of drinks, maybe on the balcony at like midnight or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
speakers playing and stuff, and or in our in-room jacuzzi that we have in the room. Um, it's more of a chilled vibe. And I was going through Arctic Monkeys tracks for that, and I was like, "You're so." Some of them fit both. You're so dark. I thought, "Oh, that works in the day and as a chilled one." Spot that in a couple of AM ones as well. But I did pick like five from the car for the chilled one. I was like, you know what, that might be nice. Like, I think
Okay.
it was like you body paint, mirror ball, jet skis on a moat. I quite like stuff like that. I was like, what's the
Sculptures.
sculptures, yeah. So I was like, you know what, there is a place for this album, and I will, before we get
Sure,
to it,
sure.
I will find it. I will find that place. But track three of the most
Hmm.
underrated tracks is from the Suck It and See era, an underrated track. And I think I'll say this to give you a clue.
Oh,
I think we would agree that it is underrated and unfairly so.
then Evil Twin.
Oh no.
Oh,
I steered you in the wrong direction there.
maybe you
It's an
did
album
then.
track.
Oh, okay.
It's an
Can I
al-
guess? I'll guess one more time then.
yeah.
Album track, album track. Underrated. Okay, and we both agree. Oh, Hellcat.
No, it's That's Where You're Wrong. And I
Oh,
think
okay. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
I get it because I think it does deserve that solo at the end and all that. It does deserve a bit more credit than
Yes,
it gets, I think.
absolutely.
And then
I also
normally the
think
plot,
Hellcat's underrated for it being a single.
yep,
Probably the most underrated single, honestly, they have.
very good track that's underrated. Track four was You're So Dark, obviously.
Hmm.
So then the fifth most underrated track is from Tranquility Base Hotel and
I
Casino.
gotta look it up again. Sorry. Okay, so
It's a track that if I don't know what you're going to say about Tranquility or what individual tracks you're going to like or not because
yeah,
you're a bit of an enigma for AM,
yeah.
so it was Tranquility is impossible. But if I had to guess, I would say this is a track that I think you'll like off Tranquility. If
Okay,
I had to gun to my head.
underrated track. Well, then I'll say science fiction, basing it off of the.
No, that is too much. That's too obviously
That's
a track
two
that you're
on
gonna like. But
that.
it's too on the nose. It's Bat Phone.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
underrated. I feel like that's like everybody's favorite.
I
Well,
think
for some
Tranquility
members.
is underrated as an album,
Yeah,
right? So
sure, sure, sure,
um,
sure.
this isn't for us, this list. I think this is for
Mm.
the. And then number six is a track from Humbug. They say is underrated.
Underrated humbug would be the jeweler's hands.
Secret Door.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah, I do agree. Ooh,
Yeah,
good list. This is a good list. That's
it
where
is a
you're
good
wrong.
list.
Secret door. Yeah.
Bar Rock Magazine are usually pretty good, and they seem to be constantly pointing out Arctic Monkeys. So someone there likes Arctic Monkeys, but
Secret door was like
no,
my number three or something. It was really high on my humbug
I
rating.
do, I do really like Secret Door. I think it got further down the list just from, it's always the same, isn't it, with Arctic Monkeys?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's got to go there, but I feel harsh. Um, Number seven is from AM.
Okay. The AM. So we've already knocked out two
The B-sides are
B-sides.
gone. It's not going to be 2013.
It's not
Let's
going to
just put
be
that to bed.
2013. So underrated from Fireside. Did they get in Fireside on there?
Yes, it's Fireside.
Yeah, this is a great
Uh,
list. This is
oh,
a great list.
we get to pardon the phrasing, we get to double team Simon Love on his
Whoa.
Fireside hatred on the on the wrap up. No, it's not that kind of platform. Don't worry. But yeah, we get to try and defend Fireside to him,
Mm,
convince him, bring him to the right side. But it's really weird because whenever you have a drink, it goes to the color of your background, so it's just you going like this, like like a sort of vampire. So track eight is from Tranquility, and he's interesting. It's
correct.
an
Okay,
interesting
so we
choice.
did Bat Phone.
But I
Back
can't give
to
you any clues because I really don't know what you would make of this track.
yeah, Tranquility underrated. It's so hard for me to know like what that's such a weird
There's
thing.
only really there's only
Underrated.
really one track that you could say, or two that you, if you
Yeah,
pick
what's
singles, that you would
properly
say.
rated? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's maybe four out of five on Tranquility Base are probably the only ones that you would say people might go for. I don't know.
Well, underrated. They're all kind of underrated, I guess. So the Ultra Cheese.
No, but I would have the Ultra Shoes on there. I think
Oh,
it's a great song. But
one
Star
point
Treatment.
perspective. Oh, okay. It literally could be any track, really. Like I feel like it
I,
literally could be any of them.
I am intrigued when we get to that, your thoughts on it, which we will get to, at the start, very start of the next season. Um, Track 9 is from Suck It and See
Track 9 is from Second and Sierra.
album.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, Evil Twin isn't on this list, bizarrely, but
Weird. Pile Driver Waltz.
close. Love is a Laser Quest.
Ah, very good. Very good list. Very good list.
Yeah. And then track 10 is from the car. I wouldn't have thought, but okay, we can discuss it. But I wouldn't have thought, not that I wouldn't think it should be on the list, but I wouldn't have thought it qualified for the list.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, if that's the case, then I don't, well, shit, you're throwing me off then. Well then, Mirror Ball. I
No, but
don't.
close. Body paint.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe I guess maybe it didn't do as well as I thought, but I get
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
because I think because we just started the podcast at that time, it's hard for me to know because I was so entrenched in it at the time that I don't know whether people
Yeah.
knew it and stuff like that. It's hard, when you're in the evolve with everyone, I'm chatting to people
Mm.
about it and messaging people about it, like people who listen. It's like it's hard to know what the general thought is, but they actually said that Arctic Monkey's latest offering, the car, takes listeners on a mesmerizing journey through a musical dreamscape. It's a very interesting take on the car, but get to that. Do you remember? Was it Far Out magazine that I've bookmarked an article a few weeks ago that I stumbled across in my research for this series that said why the car is the Arctic Monkey's best album,
Oh,
which was
I think
get
you
to that.
mentioned that, and I had that same
Yeah,
reaction where I was
I
like,
think
"What?"
it I think it was Far Out as well, so we can get to that eventually. But before we
Mm,
get to that, we get to the enemy lists. This is your last AM track to put on the list, and it's been a
yeah,
funny old list, this
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Um, and I don't think it particularly helped you when I read her description. I think it made it harder, if anything, so I'm not going to. But yeah, I think where was Stop the World was like surprisingly mid, wasn't it? Again.
Mm, yeah.
So will she love this or will she think it's
I
it's
don't think
worse?
so. I don't think she will. I don't think she will. I don't think she'll hate it, but I think it's gonna be lower on the list. I think it's gonna be maybe lower than halfway, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I'm gonna say 65.
Oh,
Did I
I
get
so
so
want you to
close again?
so close,
Oh
yeah.
my God. I like, what the fuck?
68
Dude,
is where
what?
every time I think you're gonna get it. Um,
It's
she said
crazy
the
I'm
hot.
getting so close though.
You were all your assumptions were correct as well. It's
Mm,
lower than the rest.
yeah,
It's less than halfway. It's the last row kind of midpoint. So it is probably one of the lowest ones she's put. Maybe the lowest actually of the Sarah she's put there. I
maybe.
can't. They were all kind of. There was one that was like sillily high, and then there was these were like the rest were all around 48,
Yeah, it
52, that kind
might
of stuff. So
be. Other than
I think it might be.
2013, of course.
Yes, other than that, sorry, I should admit that, yeah. Of all the serious tracks, let's say.
Yes.
So the even though I like
Of all the
the
legitimate AM tracks, of
well,
course.
not I wouldn't use the word legitimate in that. The Hollywood-worthy drama of You're So Dark could be attributed to the time the band spent living in LA while recording their fifth album AM. With name, well, not just while they recorded AM for a while, and Helder still lives there. So, with name checks to Gothic literary giants H.P. Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe, it can flip from coquettish, coquettish to macabre in an instant and portrays a fatal dalliance so vividly that is worthy of an Oscar. I'm not sure about this. Some of the text like fatal dalliance. I mean, maybe symbolically, but I don't think literally.
No.
But anyway, we can get to that when we get to the lyrics, these different takes of it. But I think, like all the ones that she's put a little bit lower on AM, the reviews are never bad of them. Maybe she's just
Yeah,
suffering from that, suffering from something that we'll get where it's like, I really like that, but it has to be here in the list because
sure.
where am I going to put it? Um, there's no video obviously, so let's go straight to the music. No bloody instrumental again. The only instrumental I could get
So
was someone
strange.
re-recording it again, and it's like, ugh.
You know what I was
Um,
thinking though? I wonder if this album was so big that even the instrumentals like got flagged and people had to take them down.
Mate, that's a good shout, maybe. Um, that would make sense because we had no problem with we had no problem with the album ones.
Yeah,
Can't blame them.
actually, I guess that doesn't make sense. Yeah, because the album tracks all
It's
had.
like no one's
Yeah,
bothered except these karaoke ones that
it's
aren't the
so
same. Which are okay if you're doing
strange.
karaoke to have like a cover of it, but
Yeah,
it's not cool for, it's not good for this. And the reason where people are like, why can you play the instrumentals but not play the actual track in the instrumental bit? It's because I think the Spotify algorithm works a bit like Shazam. You know, Shazam, the app for the music. I think, if you press Shazam to find you a track and you're watching a live concert on telly, it won't find the track. It has
yeah.
to be the actual recorded version. It must just pick up on
Hmm.
certain things in the song, and it's the same with Spotify. If we play like a live clip, it doesn't flag it, or if we play the instrumental, it
Yeah.
doesn't flag it. But as soon as we play the
Nipsey
um
Hussle.
yeah, because it even picked up on, yeah, Nipsey, if that episode that came out this week, there's just a gap there. And
Hmm.
it'll pick up on us putting, we can play 29 seconds of the main track, but if we put the whole song in segments to talk about it, plus you won't be able to hear the bits as well when he's singing like you can in instrumental, so
Yeah.
it's kind of pointless. Hopefully in fact, I know all the Tranquility ones are there, so that's going to be fine. But all the album ones were there. It's just a shame. But look, there isn't loads instrumentally really for us to like, there you go, oh, hear that bit on its own, but it would have been nice to finish the album on it. And it's shocking that no one's done it for AM specifically. But because we had them for all the Humbug ones, the supposed like maybe it's
Hmm.
because like maybe again it's like AM is an album anyone loves because it's just a really good album, but it's not like your favorite 'cause it's not like that cult one that you latch onto. Whereas someone who loves Humbug would have taken the time to make those instrumentals because they want people to hear them. Whereas
Hmm.
AM, I don't think there's anyone who loves AM like to the
Maybe,
point where it's
yeah.
like where they like safeguard. You know, like I do with Suck It and See. I safeguard it. I can't. No, you
Hmm.
will not come for Suck It and See. So like it's not an album that you could fall in love with as a fan, I don't think. Which is kind of weird in some way. We can talk about that on the wrap up, but
Yeah.
it's a fantastic album, but I just can't see it being anyone's like, oh,
Number one, yeah.
this is the one for me. Yeah, it's very strange that, um the bass is so good from both a production and riff point of view. It's such a sexy vibe all round. Interesting that it's not James Ford and Ross Orton. It is Vance, was it? Yeah, Vance. Interesting because the bass sounds phenomenal. I think we kind of said Knee Socks was the sexiest song on the album. I think this potentially rivals Knee Socks for sexiness.
Hmm.
Maybe probably second, but it's certainly I'd say the second sexiest of this era. And it's probably like the sexiest bass line of the album, to be honest.
Hmm.
And not only the sexiest bass on the album, but also potentially the best bass line of the whole era. Is there a shout for that, you know?
Maybe because I mean the one that rivaled it, I think it was Knee Socks where you said I think this is the best bass
Yes.
line for
Mm,
the
mm.
which is interesting
Yeah.
because you said, oh, this would be a great B-side for if Knee Socks had been a single and again the sexy kind of vibe. But
It's a great
yeah,
double bill.
yeah, I'd have to go back and listen really, but it's definitely like probably top yeah, probably top two.
Well, that
Like
knee socks one is
yeah,
like boom, 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 boom.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a really good bass line, knee socks, to be fair. But this one like that, dum, 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 dum,
yeah.
dum,
This
dum.
one is like what I really like about this is you have these two elements and they really complement each other really well and match
Mhm.
the vibe of the lyrics. So the bass is
Yep.
really great and it sets the sexy mood. And then you have the organ, which sets like the spooky mood. So you have like the spooky, sexy, but
Uh-huh,
perfect
uh-huh.
collaboration between these two. It's so great.
I wonder who is on that because James Ford is not there for this. So
That's
Alex,
true. It
presumably.
gotta be Alex, I would think. Then
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Does it say on the vinyls
It
anything about
doesn't.
the?
It
No,
doesn't
no,
say,
just
it doesn't
performed by
break
the band.
down. Yeah, it just
No,
says, I mean,
they
it
sometimes
does
don't.
say there was a note keys by James Ford, but it also says backing vocals by Josh Holmes. So that's got to be, I think that's just for
One
one
for
for
the
the
road.
road. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. In fact, I think we did realize James Ford did some keys for one for the road. So yeah, I would say this one is. I mean,
Top
it's a
tier for
world.
sure. Yeah.
Is there a world where this one was like recorded by James Ford, but then like they took it to this other guy to mix this producer? That
No,
can't. Does
because
it
it
say? No,
says
it
recorded in
says
that
recorded.
studio. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
recorded
okay.
and
Well, Alex
mixed
then.
by Vance Powell. Yeah,
We know Alex can get on the keys and do it, and it is just
I think
like
it's
for the
Alex.
most part those notes, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
also with the key, you say about the keys complement it, but the drums perfectly complement it as well. What Elders is doing in this opening as well. I think this again could be sampled for a great hip hop song as well. You could hear that like dum, dum,
Yeah.
dum, someone rapping over it. That would be pretty cool. I think it's this. Okay, so this is interesting. I think it's the same for the whole verse, I believe, but it depends on what you class as verse and what you class as chorus.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it does that as the intro, and then he starts singing, and then it does this bit where it starts to build up. So it depends whether you think the build up is the chorus, or the chorus starts when it just does the falsetto of "You're so dark." Like it's hard to know. It doesn't really have a format of chorus because even in the second after the second verse, it goes into like a sort of change up instead of a chorus. So there isn't really a conventional chorus. The chorus bit might just be when Helders goes, "You're so dark," like that
That's
bit. So
what the way I labeled it is what you just said. So where the light strumming comes in and he's you're so
mhm.
dark, I just labeled as pre-chorus because
Pre-chorus, yeah.
it's the same riff of the verses and everything like that, but just the strumming comes in to kind of separate it. So yeah, I just labeled it pre-chorus.
They're having a bit more fun with the structure of this one, I think, as well. Potentially a different producer in the air, perhaps,
Maybe.
maybe, but no differences. But but yeah, the falsetto is interesting because that guy is like done Jack White and he's done a lot of country stuff, whereas this doesn't fall into that category,
No.
really, does it? No, so it's quite
But you know
interesting.
what the bass kind of reminds me of is like you said Danger Mouse. It's like gives me some
Mm,
Danger Mouse kind of vibe. I could see that.
may, yeah, maybe he was recommended to them by
Mm.
someone. It's interesting there was nothing out there talking about that, working with this other guy and all that. There just seems to be
Yeah.
no real discussion of it, which is odd. But yeah, that bit, the pre-chorus then. That bit build up guitar comes in. It's like a sort of clean, reverby,
Hmm.
ethereal type guitar strum, and it's slow. But then towards the end of this pre-chorus, it builds up a bit more. Um, I like that. That's probably Jamie. The bass changes up and becomes much more of a kind of climbing bass. It's buildy in this bit. It's a bit more like going up the bass a little bit, I think. The
Yeah, and
drums become
he's hitting it with the drums, the doom doom doom, like the drum they kind of lock
very
in there.
bit loose. He's a bit looser as well. He's doing some kind of transition stuff there as well. He's a bit looser with the drums in this bit, and then it all comes to a sort of head for the falsettos with the keys, and the keys come in like sort of like duh, 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 they're kind
Hmm.
of doing more of that kind of thing, and then there's kind of a very brief pause before the falsettos with a fill by Helders. He does a little fill like he
Yeah.
likes to do in the pause, and that leads us to the I guess falsetto chorus is how I'd describe it.
Mhm.
What I like about this falsetto chorus is the beat essentially goes back to the intro verse part, except the clean guitar is strumming in line with the falsetto. I like that.
Hmm.
Dun, dun. It's like, and what I like that, yeah, the guitar kind of goes dun 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 with it, and the last "You're So Dark" with the guitar is much more stilted, and the guitar, bass, drums all match. So I love that. You're
Hmm.
so
It all
dark.
hits together, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I really like what they do with that because they don't do that a lot. That kind of
It
thing. It
sounds
is
like
quite an
kind of
original song.
glammy almost. You know, we talked
It's
about
good.
glam rock
Yeah,
and like duh, duh. It's like feels dramatic. Like they're all like duh.
yeah, it does feel
Yeah.
dramatic. Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like almost like performative, like it said in the NME
Yes.
review. Like
Yes.
it is, which in lines up with the Ryan Gosling album we did before.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say Ryan Gosling. There's another guy involved. The Dead Man's
That makes
Bones
sense.
album. But it kind of lines up with that. But it's also a bit, I guess, it is glam rocky. It is a bit rock, a bit Queen, bit
Yeah.
rock opera, and but it is also a little bit hit R&B as well in its essence. For the you
I
could
think the
see that in
bass
there as well.
sets that mood, you know. I get with that
Yeah,
sexy
yeah,
bass. Yeah.
yeah. But what that allows for, what I really like about what they do there is it allows then for this really nice, sexy drum fill and bass,
Hmm.
like very, very brief, but really nice that transitions us into verse two. And because it goes, "You're so dark, he can come in with, and you're so mysterious. It just has this amazing flow. And in
Mm.
that pause where he comes in with this different tone almost of, and you're so mysterious, like the drums and the bass can do this fill. It just works. Such a great transition. It's a shame. I really wanted to hear it instrumentally so I could pick it out properly, but it was yeah, really nice. And then verse two is much livelier than verse one.
A lot more, yeah. And they built to that in a good way, even though we were saying like, oh, it kind of the chorus goes back to the riff of the intro, but really it flows because like then and when we get into verse two, the guitar is more consistently strumming, and then halfway through that, well, the organ also is too, not just doing the kind of like hits, the organ is playing more fuller and like consistently too, and then as they again the guitar starts adding like some little flourishes halfway through the second verse. So yeah, they're kind of building it up again, which is they did several times throughout the album. We said like, oh, they're
Yes.
not stripping it down, they're instead like adding, and like it just keeps getting bigger.
It's interesting because sometimes when they do B-sides after, it can sort of start to have transitioned into the next iteration a little bit or
Yeah,
whatever's on the mind. But this one, obviously, because of maybe just the bulk of this album and how big it was, they were still in the same mindset, perhaps,
yeah,
of this one, because they probably created this during a sound check, like they do a lot of the B-sides, that bass line and stuff. So,
probably, yeah.
um, but yeah, as you say, the clean guitar is featured in this, but like they do that kind of same stilted thing they did again. So they do that. Even that was Monster
Mm.
Coach-esque, and it does that same stilt thing, which I really like. It feels much freer than other songs in this era. I think I mentioned that at the start, and that's what we said about knee socks. It just feels like they were a bit more loose with let's do this with the
Yeah.
bass, let's do this with drums, rather than let's just keep to this beat and see what we
Feels
can do with that.
less produced. It feels less like I hate to say like cookie cutter, but it feels less like oh,
Yeah,
it feels more band-ish.
it feels less 2001 and more kind of like Black Keys in its kind of
Yeah.
hip hoppy bass, but with like more to, you know what I mean? They're kind of hitting those vibes more. A lot of the 70s as well, again, like knee socks, just a bit looser. I really like that. After that, Monster Coach-esque, Helders does another fill, which I really like. Um, then interestingly here, I think as Helders builds up, sorry, as Alex builds up his voice to the Italian, she listens to the score. I want you to know that the drums become much bigger to build with his voice, and we transition into that kind of more built up version again. And instead of going in, and because Helders does that build up with the drums and Alex is going big, instead of then going back to the drop down of the falsetto chorus, which I don't even know if we can call it a chorus because it only happens once, really. Like, the whole song, everything in it only happens once, really,
Yeah, yeah.
mainly, like, which is very rare for them. And then it goes into that, the drums transition us in, where we had the "You're so dark," the drums transitioned us into a
It's a
bridge,
great
which is
transition
great
though. Like
transition.
the drums start getting a
Yes,
little
very
more
nice,
wild.
Phil.
Yeah.
Classic Helders,
Yeah,
Phil.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. Yeah, this is a good Helders track, and yeah, I really like that transition. And then the bridge, like a different tone of guitar comes in, which I'm reluctant to say heavier, but it feels different tonally. I wouldn't go as far to say heavy, but it's this kind of like kind of ethereal, moody sound. I guess dark is probably the right word rather than rocky. It's horror-esque, I suppose. It's ethereal, it's moody, it's that kind of that guitar that and you're nothing like mine. That bit.
So I made a note here. This is rare, but I did want to point it out. So yeah, the guitar is doing some really nice melodies too. It does like
Mm.
sound bigger, but I said I almost, since it's a B-side, I was thinking about this. I was like, I almost wish we had some Miles guitar here. The melodies that the guitar's
Ooh.
doing, I was like, ooh, I feel like that would be really good Miles moments right there.
Wash your mouth out with soap and go to
Just
bed without
saying.
supper,
That's
as
what
you
we've said. We always say that's like it's something about the way that this was sound like the melodies of this. I was like, that would have a really good sound with like Miles's guitar and stuff.
go to the confessional booth and start counting rosary beads. You've gone too far. No, I know what you mean. He could have done one of his classic Miles type things here. But I have to say, I do really love what they do though.
Yeah, I do.
Uh,
I do. I absolutely do. Yeah.
just laughed at do then as well. Another childish moment for me on this podcast. But yeah, I do love that. Yeah, that and it's probably Jamie, and it is a moodier sound. So again, kind of
Hmm.
setting the vibe as ever. The cookie monster, cookie cutter monster, whatever on this album. Um, but what the guitar does in this bit, as he's singing, like, she's working on, she's not my, I'm working on sunshine and all that. It guides us through this whole little bridge, that guitar, and as the keys become a much more sort of creepy organ style, don't they? The keys sort of linger more rather than being just these notes. It's sort of more present, which kind of, I guess, makes sense for the track. And it's kind of like we've obviously had the kind of carnival-esque organs on Humbug and stuff like that, but this one feels even darker, but like darker in a way that fits the sort of sexy tone of this track as well.
Yeah, it's weird that they don't go with the creepy, like we say, like, oh, this like creepy organ sound, but it never comes off necessarily as creepy because it's in things like, oh, fluorescent adolescence, and it's like kind of bouncy. And then you have the song that is like horror themed, and they don't use the creepy organ sound. It's more almost like church,
Mm.
which also then people use to be creepy
Well,
later,
yeah.
but it's not the circusy type of voice. It's more like the big ominous type
No,
of
I think you've
organ.
probably hit it on the nail on the head, which is the church organ and the circus organ, and it's that
Yeah.
different level. And I think, but then again, I think I said at the time that like Flush Adolescent is like um the if the organ is what did you say it was then? Not the circus, but you called it something like
Church.
carnival.
Oh,
Carnival,
carnival.
sorry. First Adolescent is like the carnival in the day with the organ on, and Humbug
Mm.
and stuff is like the carnival at night when it's shut
Yeah,
and you're
yeah.
in there and it's very creepy and the organ starts playing. It's like Scooby Doo. But like this one is, yeah, it doesn't go as creepy as that, but it kind of just sets a different vibe. But I suppose it's because I don't think they're necessarily trying to be creepy or they're invoking horror, but I don't think the song is horror, which is why I don't agree with some of the assessments in the reviews
Mm.
there. I think it's just that this girl is a gothic type girl, so he's kind of leaning into that in a jokey way, like going
Yeah.
all in. She's not actually probably that, but like I know what type of girl he's talking about, especially like in LA, I imagine, 10 for a penny, I imagine, but like yeah, I do like the way they use it, but it isn't as prominent as they've done before. Probably the creepiest dog they've ever done is Pretty Visitors, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
which is
first
an
one that comes
interesting
to
in
mind.
itself.
Yeah.
But and especially in the breakdown bit live when he starts doing weird shit during it and stuff like that, and they use that. Dun, 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 dun,
Hmm.
dun, dun, dun. I do love that. But that during this bit though, Held is just throwing in
He
transitions here, there,
is.
and
He's just
everywhere.
going
He's
crazy.
just
Yeah.
going crazy with it. He's just putting them wherever he wants. The bass is fantastic, but what I found with the actual track, because we didn't have the instrumental, is it's really mixed under the rest of this at this point. It's the bass is really taking a back seat during this breakdown. Like they've mixed it in so you can hear it, but it's not like a prominent feature. You have to really listen to it and go, what's the bass doing? I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was doing
Yeah, especially
during this
with the
bit.
hits, especially the dun, dun, dun. When you're listening, you're
Done.
actually like, yeah, the bass is really, really
It
low there.
was
I agree.
yeah, it was strange because it was so prominent at the
Hmm.
start.
And then it's
Um,
prominent again because it all
then at the
drops
end
out
of it.
and it's just the bass again. Yeah.
I guess maybe I'd have to let go. I should have put it on my like I haven't got the vinyl, but my amp has Bluetooth on it, and I should have
Mm.
just turned the bass up full. Although the neighbors don't like it when I do that. Usually when I put the bass on full, but it's I should have listened to it and seen if I could hear it more. But um, then we have a few kind of drum stomps and keys bashes to take us all the way down to a breakdown. So we
Hmm.
do we get again. It's like intro, verse, pre-verse, maybe chorus,
Yeah.
second verse, bridge, breakdown, outro. That's kind of the thing. But the clean guitar essentially leads us into what is essentially a bass solo, I guess, in its own way. Or I wouldn't class it as a bass solo because it's not like going out, but it's
It's
like
not going crazy. Yeah.
a cellular bass, a bass on its own, let's say, a singled out bass. And I like this. I like the way the clean does it, and he's doing that. Dum, 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 dum,
Doom,
dum.
da, doom, doom.
Do you think? slightly slower or same speed as it is at the intro. It's just sounds slower because the drums and that aren't with it.
I think it's the same.
You
But
sure?
yeah, it could be
Sometimes bass sounds
slightly
slower on its
slower,
own, you know,
yeah,
when
when
you
it's just
when you
on its
get
own. But
yeah. What?
I love the little bat, but when he drops out, it's just the bass, and he does this like, oh, with this
Yeah,
vocals.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
great little moment, and they like put some reverb, and the way that
Ah!
they mix it, it kind of sweeps across the headphones, like it kind of goes from like left to right. It's
Yeah, it's
like
cool, that isn't it?
yeah,
It's like,
it's fun.
ah, you're so dark. Yeah, and that interesting on the kind of bass solo bits. Like you've obviously got This House is a Circus, Do Me a Favor. Is it on its own there? You've got Brian Storm. Yeah, I'm trying to think where it sort of stands. It's a good bass Nick O'Malley moment
Yeah.
on its own, really. Yeah. Um, it sounds amazing. This is a production sound that also makes it sound a bit spacey. Like if you listen to it with like really closely, you
Mm-hmm.
can like hear it reverberating off the amp. It's great.
Mm.
Like if you listen to the track, you can hear this. If you listen really closely, as the bass does, you hear this in the background, like where it
Okay.
must be. I can only assume it's the bass reverberating into the mic, but it sounded great. Spacey isn't at first I thought spacey, and then when I heard it, I thought, oh no, it's reverberating. It sounds really good. Um, and then we get this kind of clean lead Jamie Cook special, which we haven't had much, but this is kind of a classic
It is, yeah.
climbing, ding, 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 like sort of building thing. I like that. It guides it along with some very low key drums as it builds to, of course, a drum transition. I mean, the amount of drum transitions in this song is
One, it
ridiculous.
feels like he's playing with a little bit more energy. It's that outro, he's really
Yeah,
without like doing going crazy like Matt can, but you can feel the energy behind the
the
drum.
energy. And the organ comes back in. The drums become absolutely crazy, yeah. Like I actually put that, I put here, but the drums become crazy again, but a quiet crazy. So
Yeah,
there you go, yeah.
no, they are.
And they're mixed in really well, actually. That's probably a production thing, actually. I don't think Helders was like, I'm going to play it gently. I think it's probably a production point where they've mixed it in and lowered the drums a bit and stuff. So you can hear he's going chaotic, but it's not like taking over the track, you know?
Hmm.
So good production, again, from Vance. And the Jamie Cook guitar is building up to a few stomps at the end as well. And I think it's got the perfect end
The
in
organ, yeah.
that dun dun dun, the end of an era full of perfect song ends for me. I don't think I had a complaint about any of the ends of this one, did I? Maybe was one it all a fade out?
I want
Oh
it
no, it
all
was a
was
fade
the
out.
fade out. Hmm.
And live, they did it great. Live, they
They
ended it
did,
with a
yeah.
perfect end. Yeah. So that was the only sour point, but they were mostly all my kind of ends. This one,
Really good
but
endings,
um,
yeah.
but I think musically, yeah, it's great. And I actually think, you know, when we talk about, oh, I wonder what the Monkees have been like if they worked with more producers, even though we love James Ford and we're not trying to get
Yeah.
him off. But when you hear something like
Here you
this that's
go, yeah.
produced a bit differently, it's cool. And I
And
never knew.
I also remember really liked the three B-sides they did on their own.
Yep.
And we
F-
complimented a lot of the sounds. Like that's what's kind of unfortunate about it for me too is but the sound of the Suck It and See B-sides was good a lot of the time, and they did that with Ross in Sheffield or whatever. So we do get little hints of what they're like without James Ford, and generally I like it, like I like the stuff
Do you
that they're
think it's one of them where, do you know, like, mm, if something, if the artist is bringing top quality, then even a half decent producer is gonna get something good
sure.
out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like a sort of, I'm trying to think. It doesn't always work. You know, there are some sort of,
Yeah. I'm sure
um,
there's moments where James has saved them or like pulled them. I mean, he adds things, he adds instruments and stuff, but these are at this point, they can all write songs. Alex can write his way around a damn song. So, I mean, if they
yeah.
come in
I
with a
think it's
half decent idea, I think it's going to be pretty quality.
I think it's just it's an intriguing thing for us because it was so few times that we can talk about someone else producing them. Like we just don't get it a lot, do we? So, and I
Yeah,
actually did wonder if the next album, because we don't know the situation with James Ford, is going to be James Ford. Like we're only assuming they're waiting for him, but
true.
who knows? Maybe we get someone else. I really like the idea because Damon Albarn James Ford produced David Albarn's album, and he's produced Gorillaz. Like, imagine David Albarn producing an Arctic Monkeys
That'd be
album. That
so
would be,
cool.
yeah. So, but these are all thoughts that I have in my head that won't happen. But also with this, interesting now because this is a note I made. But I think it's more interesting now we know someone else produced it. This feels like I said before, freer than the rest of the era with a different structure and stuff. And that's interesting that I wrote that down, that I could feel that different structure when it's a different producer. But I also but it's still perfectly in keeping with the album and the sound. So it's a good job of him to capture. Like, we didn't know, we never thought it was a different producer. We never
Yeah.
suspected it was a different producer. So he's done a good job of keeping it the same. And obviously, what the band brings to it does that. But
Yeah.
I think it's, yeah. And vocally, I think Alex smashes it. I think it's sexy. It's more performative than we get. He's very performative in the Tranquility era, but this is like one of the first tastes of him being
Yeah.
transformed in the way where he'll do this big thing line. Like, something he loves to do now is to go big on a line that's a bit silly. Do you know what I mean?
Sure,
Like,
sure,
so
sure.
he
Yeah.
does that a lot. He goes big on lines that are a bit silly, and this is like, listens to the score. Like, it's such a
Sure.
pretentious sort of thing, but yeah, he goes big in all the right places. His voice is great actually when he goes big as well, and the BVs I think are great. And like I said before, the Poe BV is my favorite BV of all time, maybe because it's just so ridiculously, but it works. So yeah, absolutely great track.
Vocally too, I will say one more thing. Vocally is we again it kind of ties back to Knee Socks where he was Cured My January Blues, where he's really kind of leaning into like this more singing style. But I'm really impressed too of um I think it's when he goes, I want you down on all fours because you're so like where he really kind of like leans into the chorus in a different way that he didn't. Like, yeah, he's really
And
pushing himself here.
he also changes his cadence when he's
Yeah.
being silly, and when he's saying something like down on all floors, he's quite commanding in that. Do you know what I mean? In the way he does
Mm,
it. So he's quite interesting. And like I said, we've never really had him say stuff like that before. Obviously, we'll talk about it in the lyrics, like so explicitly and straight down the line,
yeah.
almost like commanding almost. So yeah, it's a bit of a different take. But shall we find out what we thought other artists would do with this
Yes.
track?
Yes.
Let's do that.
I'm gonna form a covers band and all.
I thought you made an interesting choice, Justin. Who was it?
So, really, the idea came from. I picked The Smiths or Morrissey specifically, but it was because I was thinking of "How Soon Is Now," the song by them, which is like
Hmm.
totally such a goth theme of the '80s, you know. So that's really like why that was the motivation behind it.
I thought it was a great choice because also I could hear Morrissey kind of doing some of the cadences that Alex does in this, but also
Yeah.
obviously the Smiths are known for kind of upbeat music with darker singing tones and lyrics. So yeah, good choice. But for the subscribers, we'll listen to see how that worked, and for everyone else, for the last time, or I might slip one in the wrap up though. I might slip one in the wrap up. In fact,
Oh, okay.
I definitely will in part one
Okay.
and two. We'll put one in. For everyone else, you're gonna get an ad. Love the podcast? Get even more with our exclusive Patreon content. For just £3 a month, extended versions of our episodes, in both video and audio, released a week early with pre-show album reviews specially selected to set the tone for each track. This era's artists include The Black Keys, Ashanti, Outkast, Black Sabbath, T-Rex, Elton John, Leonard Cohen, The Coral, Dr. Dre, Gorillaz, Queens of the Stone Age, and Aaliyah. Also every week, we use cutting-edge software to create AI-generated covers of each track by artists we've handpicked. Playback and commentary on official music videos for single releases. Enjoy acoustic or special live performance watch-alongs at the end of each episode. Post-show debriefs, including our new segment, It's Nothing on the Early Stuff, where we compare each track to the band's back catalogue. Plus, we regularly put out bonus content and watch-alongs. And for all you Shadow Puppets fans out there, upgrade to our £5 tier and get everything above, plus a monthly deep dive into a track from the last Shadow Puppets back catalogue, PLSP watch-alongs, and the chance to choose a non-Monkeys related track for us to cover in our usual format. So, Join us now at patreon.com/Arctic podcast and unlock the deeper cuts, behind the scenes chat, and the Arctic extras you won't find anywhere else. Hey, if you wanna hear us that and listen to Morrissey doing it and hear about it, then like the ad said, go to patreon.com/Arctic podcast. And now's the time to do it in the next few weeks because we're going to be going, but we're going to be doing loads of content and
It's
there's
going
loads
to
of
be all
content to catch up
Patreon
on.
focused, yeah.
But if you like listen to us every Wednesday and you like, I don't like it when that goes away for months, then you could literally still listen. You could go, we've got 61 subscribers. Justin just
Listen
did
once
his
a
take
week,
on
yeah.
Age of the Understatement a couple of weeks ago. His take on that, which was really good. And like, that's 61. So you got 61. If you listen to one a week, if you wanted to, that's 61 subscriber episodes for you to listen to.
That's a year's worth.
And even if you took out the watch alongs and did them separately, like you'd probably still have like 30 or 40. So they'll more than fill the gap before we come back, is all I'm saying. So come join us. And we're doing more as well.
So you know what? That's just the 61 is the exclusives, but you have all the album reviews that we
Oh
do at the
yeah.
beginning of every
And
thing,
post,
and
yeah.
the extra discussion that we
And
did
all
this
the
whole
stuff that's cut
era.
out every episode,
Yeah, yeah.
particularly now because of Spotify. And also, like, we're going to be doing loads during this era. I mean, by the time we come back, we'll probably be close to, like, who knows, getting towards 100 subscribers. Well, maybe not 100, but, we'll
Well,
be...
maybe not
we'll be
double.
maybe not double, but, we'll be getting up there. We'll be 80 plus, I imagine, with watch-alongs and stuff that I'll be doing. I'm going to try and do, like, a watch-along every week, and we'll do other episodes in between, so... come now's the best time. Now's the best time. Because when we're not doing everything else, it's easy for me to jump on and watch a gig for an hour because it's just me. I'd be doing that anyway, probably. So I may as well record myself doing it. But yeah, come join us. But now, if you want to hear mine, I knew I wanted a female singer again for the
Okay.
last time in this era. I thought like that kind of sexiness, but I knew I needed someone who was sexy, but like low register and could carry the weight of this. So I actually went with Lana Del Rey as a
Okay, good
performer of
choice.
this. So again, if you become a subscriber at patreon.com/Arctic podcast, you can hear that. But if not, we will be back in a jiffy with the lyrics. The lyrics of this one,
Pull it up.
obviously, as I said earlier, Arabella, Donna of Sadness. So it's Arabella, but dark. He's obsessed. He wants to bang her. He wants, but he doesn't quite. I don't know if at times he thinks that he would get her, but like he's really attracted to this girl, but she's darker, and then I think he's having fun with it. I don't really see anything other than that, especially with some of the takes that we had at the start, which were like from the other reviews, which were like, I think this one said it was. A love letter to the AM era about the dark nail polish wearing indie heads that crafted their entire look around the record. But why were people doing that for AM? I don't understand why people would be. I know he was wearing a leather jacket, but that's not gothic. That's
No,
rock.
I mean,
He was
well,
rockabilly during this time. AM isn't
it
a dark album.
it's not. And if anything, what I think maybe he might be suggesting, but maybe I don't think it's worded right. But what I could see is AM might be where you got more, like, especially, I think it's even bigger now with like the TikTok stuff, but just from this perspective of like the young women at the time more latching on to the idea of like Alex as this kind of attraction to focus towards the band because I think it was around like AM where he really became that like
Oh yeah.
attraction focus, and so you get a lot more of these like young women who are going to be seeing girls dressing up in certain ways, not gothic, but in certain ways to go to the concerts and to kind of like represent like the band out in public and stuff.
Yeah, they
So
got they
that's
got what like followers, like
yes.
more fans than like
Like
music fans.
makes me, what was that band? The 1975 or something like that. They got really big
Oh
too.
God.
It kind of, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
that
same thing, yeah.
idea,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. They're from where I'm from,
Oh,
1975.
okay.
And enough said about that. But they're yeah, no, I know what you mean. They did seem to have more like I say, it was really hard to get tickets for the gigs as well because it was so popular
Yes, that was,
and
yeah, the biggest.
a lot more of your fan than your music fan, your Arctic Monkeys fan, much more of you fan of Alex and fans of
Yeah,
the album. But people were fans of AM era more than fans of Arctic Monkeys for this
sure.
period, I think.
Yeah.
And then they kind of dropped off when Tranquility came out, and he went with a skinhead, and
And
I
looked
think they
like an
dropped
old
off.
man for a while. Like he had that crazy
Yeah,
goatee and like
yeah,
looked
yeah,
like this
yeah. Oh man,
eccentric,
the goatee, the
like
worst choice. He's the
dude, that
one.
is his worst look. We'll talk
The
about
goatee's
that.
the worst look for
It's the
anyone. Like
worst
Matthew
look.
Perry and Friends when he has a goatee, it's the worst look for
Yeah,
anyone. No one has ever pulled off a goatee.
not
I
even
don't think.
Alex. We've got proof.
Not even Alex. Yeah, if Alex can't pull it off,
Yeah.
then no one.
Oof.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. But that it's just more than dark nail polish wearing that is suggested there, which I didn't really get. But I guess some people did do that in India. I guess it just wasn't my thing. But certainly the band weren't invoking that kind of style. Um, but but yeah, that is interesting about that. And yeah, because I think people like love the songs 'cause they go like young girls now. 12 years later look back at videos of Alex then and they kind of fall in love with him then and then it's that kind of he's in that time and place still for some people, isn't he, in the way he looks and that.
Yeah.
I know I fell in love with him during that acoustic Suck It and See performance where he's got the leather jacket and that, I can tell you that much. But he also says in that review that it might seem performative to the outsider, but the darkness of this particular era, which I still don't understand the darkness of the era, what they mean by that, because I don't think
The
this era
only,
is
you know what, the only thing I
darkness
would
in
note to
wet
that.
in the evening.
That yes, in that I always say like Second and See is the bright daytime album for me. And a couple times you mentioned, oh, let's throw on. I think even Knee Socks dropped today, and you were saying like, oh, throw it on during the
Mm-hmm.
day. I was like, dude, I always this whole album is just the nighttime for me. Like all the way, it's just midnight listen type of. So Darkness is like just the nighttime for me from my perspective.
I think it works for both for me. I think it either really, but I like it on a sunny day. I just mean I like the
Yeah,
accompaniment of a drink and AM on a sunny day. It's a nice vibe, but it is a nighttime album. But the word darkness like implies, and relating it to this song, just because AM is the evening album, but evening isn't always horror or dark. This is more
no,
like sexy club bar, well not club
yes.
bar drinking nighttime, not what we do in the shadows. You know
Darkness.
what I mean?
Yes,
It's not,
no. Yeah, that is a weird
it's not Interview
line.
with a
Yeah.
Vampire. But yeah, it's a bit strange that. But anyway, so I don't think it really invokes. I don't think it's about the fandom or about the fans that came to the gigs. I mean, he might have seen the girl at a gig, but I don't think it's particularly about the subset of the fans like they're alluding to there. For me, I think it's just straight up about a girl that he's seen. But also in the review on the enemy list, she said portrays a fatal dalliance, which I don't agree with either. I think the darkness invoked is it is about her style rather than any
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't think
re
there's actually darkness to the song. I think it's all
no,
about a dark
if
person
there was
stylistically.
sexual any darkness, it would be more your 50 Shades of Grey type shit than
Yeah,
anything
no.
devious. So yeah, I don't really get that
I don't
either.
actually think
I
there's
don't
anything dark about this song.
no, I
Yeah,
don't think
it's
it's like a doomed love story or anything. It's not like
no, no, no.
like
It's not like
kind of
a
horror.
Romeo and Juliet, they commit suicide in the
No.
end. It's really just her style is to, yeah, it does seem to be like people are kind of missing that very obvious,
Well, I think when he gets a bit jerky, people do miss stuff a lot, I think, and they're trying
maybe.
to read too much into it, and they're just kind of like he's just playing on this idea, like of
Yeah, no, yeah.
in the same way in Arabella, he was playing at the idea of her being out of this world and
Yeah.
space. He's playing with her dark. We know the girl. She's a bit gothic and she's into horror films from Italy. I mean, she sounds like your ideal woman, to be honest, Justin. But she's she's a bit, and in the bedroom, she's a bit, dark as well. And it's all that we know that type of girl. We know who he's talking about, or girls that are like that. So I don't think it doesn't have to be like dark relationship. It's just she likes the darker side of pop culture and stuff. It's
Yeah, yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be deep. Just because you're into stuff like that doesn't mean it's in any way devious. But
No.
But should we go for it lyrically then? You got your HP Lovecraft, which is a great way to open a song as a reference. Like you got your HP Lovecraft, which for people that don't know, Howard Phillips Lovecraft was an American writer of weird science, fantasy, and horror fiction. Very famous, obviously. Are you a horror novel fan, or is it just strictly movies
I
and
used so before I moved to the States, I mean, before I moved to Korea when I was living in the States, I did read a lot more. And now my reading time is just dedicated to like studying Korean time. So I don't read anymore,
yeah,
but most of it was like the classic goth, like Dracula, Frankenstein,
mm-hmm.
the picture Dorian Gray, Jekyll and Hyde, the novellas and stuff like that. So I've never read like a H.P. Lovecraft story. But like I know Cthulhu and I
Yeah,
generally know, but no, I've never read. I did read a lot of Poe though.
yeah, Poe. Yeah. You're probably that kind of annoying guy like me that will go, actually, Frankenstein is the
The
creator, not the
doctor.
monster.
Yeah.
But yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, very famous in horror fiction, is obviously someone that the girl in the song
Mhm.
would be a fan of. And then yeah, you're quite right. He says your Edgar Allan Poe as a follow-up, who, for people that don't know, Edgar Allan Poe, born 1809 to 1849, which is that was kind of classic. That was quite old then, probably. Was an American writer, poet, editor, and literary critic who is best known for his poetry and short stories, particularly his tales involving mystery and the macabre. He is widely regarded as one of the central figures of Romanticism and Gothic fiction in the United States and of early American literature. Now, most people, if you're wondering what you would have read by him, you will know The Raven.
Sure. Telltale Heart.
Um, Yeah, I think even that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror that
Yeah.
apes that you'll
The
know, like where
Raven,
Homer gets
yeah.
it, the Raven, yeah. So you'll know it from that if nothing else. But obviously he kind of follows up that theme in the next line. Again, that's obviously just a reference to the type of thing that girl would read. But he says, "You're unkind of ravens," which I actually didn't know this because I know that a murder of crows, which is coming up, is the collective term for a group of crows. I knew that,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that a collective noun for a group of
Raven.
ravens was unkind of ravens.
Yeah.
So I actually always thought he said you got your own kind of ravens, which was just a
Ah.
reference to the Edgar Allan Poe thing
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the raven haunts him, doesn't it, in Edgar Allan Poe essentially. But
Yeah.
um it so but that so but I think he is aping that a little. You wouldn't mention Raven after Edgar Allan Poe unless you were
No,
trying to invoke
it's
that.
definitely absolutely a Poe reference, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Poe. I've got to do it every time someone says like a Poe. For the last 12 years, every time someone says Edgar Allan Poe, I have to go Poe. Can't help it. Um, so yeah, your Uncanny Ravens is a collective noun for a group of ravens, and your Murder of Crows, which is obviously a group of crows as well, which kind of has a double usage, right? Because you're using the word murder as well and
Sure,
invoking that
murder and
darkness. So
unkind, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, interesting. Sort of assume that she would have that as well. Obviously he's having fun with that. Obviously, I don't think you're supposed to take that this girl does keep ravens and crows. It's just
No, no, no.
that's the vibe she puts out, right? Um, and then he says, "Catty eyelashes and your Dracula cape," which I really like the catty eyelashes and
Yeah,
Dracula
that's
cape
so
mix.
appropriate for like the person you're depicting, yeah.
Yeah, it's really really good
It really
descriptive
makes me
work.
think of his reference like in the first album, what was it? Chop Shop Princess, like
Possessed.
kind of really
Yeah, it's
depicting
oh,
somebody.
am I wrong in saying that Jamie wrote those lyrics for? Do you remember that was like a revelation on the first series?
Something like
Jamie
that, maybe,
wrote the
yeah.
lyrics of Alex for that, and that's the only time that's apart from next series, there is actually one line next series which
Yes, I
Jamie
know,
created
which
too. So
yeah.
yeah, but although I don't think he meant for it to be a lyric, yeah. So Catty Alice Chocolate Cake, it does sound like a Top Shop. This is kind of still take you home.
Kind of, yeah,
Arabella.
yeah.
There's kind of just descriptive words about one particular woman, and
Yeah.
like that every time quite well done as well. Because that I remember at the time that Top Shop Princess Rockstar 2 was like so accurate for the girls that were in the clubs I was in. I was like, can't believe how much he's nailed that. Like, because I know the Top Shop International, were they Top Man and
I
Top
don't
Shop?
think
No,
so.
just like indie shop basically. I think we probably
Yeah.
described it. I think I probably described it on the episode that you
You
listened to,
did, yeah.
but knowing me, no stone unturned. But he then says, and I really like this. I really like this. So this is
This is a
being
good
flat.
line.
This is a good line. Been flashing AAA passes at the cemetery gates, which AAA pass is like an access all area pass. And the
Hmm.
idea that she has access all areas to the
The
cemetery because she's so
cemetery.
die. It's so
Like she's
great,
hanging out in the
so cool.
cemetery all the time, yeah.
And it also kind of invokes that like going to a gig and flashing the backstage pass to get through the gate, and yet she's doing that at a cemetery because that's
Yeah,
her gig.
yeah.
That's her gig. That's where she gets her kicks. Like
Yeah.
that's really cool. I really like that. Again, you're not supposed to take these things literally.
No,
It's just a
no,
descriptive
not at
term.
all. Not at
And I
all.
think and I think that happens quite a lot with artists and some of the rude stuff where people take his stuff too literally, and it's like, do you not understand how writing works and stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Do you read every book and take everything literally? Like, I don't understand it. Like, maybe with songs, people expect more like less obliqueness in songs, maybe, and they try and take it. There was a song that we did on this album where the review we read was so taking something crazily
Yeah,
literally, and we
it
were like, I can't believe
was.
what that was, and we were like, really? Why would you think that? I can't remember what that was, but
And
it
even like
was
sometimes people were saying like knee socks is so mysterious or something. We're like, no, it's not.
yeah, yeah, it
Was
was
it
the
knee
enemy
yeah.
list. It was Nisox, yeah. They said like she said it was not she didn't use the word like opaque, but that's what kind of what she was getting at was that
Yeah.
it was kind of had to read it, and we were like, not really. I think there was one line where I said, okay, maybe that one, but like barely. But yeah, I really like that idea. It's a really cool idea. And then we get to the chorus, which is of course, because you're so dark, babe, but I want you hard. You're so dark, babe. You're so dark. I love that, but I want you hard. Again, that's quite explicit for Alex,
It
straight down
is.
the line. I
Yeah.
like.
These are some rare moments, honestly, for Alex.
I want you hard. Like, it kind of lends itself because if I'm saying this is the Arabella Donna of Sadness, the inverse of Arabella, the dark version, and you kind of felt I took that line a different way, but you and Simon, I think, did
Mm.
read it as a phallic symbol with the coke. That
Yeah,
was quite
yeah.
a big. But even in that, I think even if you took it that way or my way, the ambiguity is there to take it
Sure. And
either
like my
way.
propeller. Yeah.
There's no ambiguity here. This is, but I want you hard. There's no
Yeah.
way. Although you could say, I want you, but I want you so hard. Like, I want you badly.
Well, oh, sure. Well, but still,
But still, like,
yeah. Oh, sure.
hard
But
sexually is like, but I want you hard. Yeah, you wouldn't
yeah.
say, also that you wouldn't say that.
You
That isn't
would
a
never
phrase.
say that. I want, yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly, but I want you hard. But I could see how he would say, because he does that, he would say, no, no, I meant it as like, I want her hard, I want her badly. You wouldn't say, yeah, I meant I want to fuck her hard. Like, you know what I mean? It's not,
But still, I
um,
mean, we're gonna get to lines where it's like, well, there's really no other way to enter.
yeah, as Jack Black and Tenacious D would say, fuck her gently, Alex, something like that. Yeah, I really love that bit. But yeah, we do get more explicit as it goes. But then we slip into probably my favorite part of the song, musically and lyrically. Yeah, well, I love this transition as we talked about in the music
Hmm.
bit, but I love these lyrics. And you're so mysterious, got that obsession with death. Um,
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that. Yeah, like just
Horror
that girl having that
movies, hanging out
obsession.
at the cemetery, the posters, the darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, and that line was stayed to me because I know he means it like in a kind of almost like a cultist way as a joke. Like she's like that kind of,
Yeah.
maybe she's in the cemetery with a pentagram, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I am obsessed with death as well. So I always say that line because I'm like obsessed, like scarily so. So I always relate to that line. But I do really like it. And then the follow up is great, which really plants it in LA as well because
Yeah.
LA is known for this. But I saw you driving your Prius, and even that was much Coach-esque.
That's one of
Now,
his like best like joke lines,
yeah,
honestly.
it's really good.
It's
Although,
really funny.
do you know what's interesting about that is because I agree, but also some of the joke ones you haven't got because they're quite British, whereas this is more of an
That's
American
true.
reference, so maybe
That's
that's why
true.
you get it. Because I imagine maybe a lot of English people listening might not get that and find it funny, like because
That's
they don't
true.
know that. So people that don't know, I do because and that may be one of the reasons why I linked to this song straight away because I love that line. And when I was a kid, I used to love the Monsters like it used to be. And obviously, it's way before our time, right?
It
But it
was the
used to be on.
60s, 64 to
Yeah.
66, but it was one of those things where they play the reruns like
Oh, I loved it.
non-stop, like all the time.
I
I
prefer it
was
to the
blown
Adams
away
Family,
to
to be
find
honest.
out that it only ran for 2 years, to be honest. I was like,
Wow.
there's so many, yeah, episodes.
So to describe it to people, it was kind of like the Adams Family, but more sitcom-y and jokey, right? Like it
Yes.
was
It was
basically
a
what
it
it
was a
was.
sitcom, but everyone was a monster.
Yeah, and it was so much. I always preferred it. It was my kind of Adams Family, I suppose. I preferred it. Although
Yeah.
I did like one of the Adams Family films, to be fair. But
Mm.
when I was a kid, I was obsessed with this Adams Family film where Uncle Fester goes through all these tunnels in this to get somewhere. I remember trying to create that in my house, like with no success, obviously. But yeah, the monsters. So when I heard that line, I was like, oh, first of all, I was like, Alex knows the monsters. So he watched the reruns when he was a
Oh,
kid, like I
sure.
did, which is a cool kind of link, especially when we're in England, right? It's not as big here, so we
Mhm.
obviously kind of saw it out. But I love the use and the idea that. So just by the way, I did get this just so people can get an idea. This is the opening music to the Monsters.
Come on. Ba-dum.
Makes you want to go like this.
Simpsons also did a really good parody of where they are the monsters. Lisa's the
Yes.
normal one or whatever, and Bart is the
Yeah, yeah.
werewolf.
What was the son called? I used to...
Eddie, right? Is
Eddie
his name
Munster,
Eddie?
yeah.
Eddie Munster, yeah. He's just a little werewolf.
Kind of my two obsessions as a kid from America initially were the Munsters and the Little Rascals. I was
Uh-oh.
obsessed with as well, which was weird. My girlfriend knew the Munsters when we talked about it yesterday a lot. She'd seen it a lot as well, but
Uh-huh.
she had never seen the Little Rascals, and I was like, "What?
Oh.
I need to see that. I love the Little Rascals." But yeah, so that's the music for that, and kind of surf rocky, isn't it? Kind of 60s surf with that kind of
Hmm.
fun vibe. But yeah, great for Alex to use it, and I like the way it's like. Because the Prius is such an LA car that everyone's known for having a Prius in LA because it was a hybrid and it was kind of the first electric-y type thing,
Yeah.
wasn't it, years ago? So everyone had one. And the idea that even when she's driving this quite, even though she's this goth girl, she's driving this quite obvious LA car.
Yeah.
But the way she looks in it, she's making it look
It's
monster
horror-esque,
coach. Yeah. So
yeah.
so we should say as well that we didn't say, but the monsters have a coach, a car in it that's quite famous from it, isn't it? That cart that they
Yeah.
drive. It's quite a well-known image. So I think it's really cool to. It's a really well done line to equate her driving a Prius to a very specific piece of pop culture. You know, the monsters. We've had Mean Streets, Be My Baby, and now the monsters in this era as pop culture references. But yeah, love it. Um, very funny. Uh, then he says you watch Italian horror and you listen to the scores. Do you watch Italian horror and listen to the scores, Justin?
I will tell you that Italian horror is a very specific brand of horror
Yeah.
films, and I do not like Italian horror, but a lot of people do. Like, there's a lot of big, like, famous Italian horror movies, obviously. But the funny thing about the scores of Italian movies is they're always so weird. Like not even like creepy weird. They're always just like don't match the vibe of what's happening all the time. But they're kind of notorious. So, Dario Argento is a big one, Lucio Fulci, and so yeah, there's I do not like Italian horror. Generally I don't.
No, I'm interested to hear the scores though. But I can see Alex liking it. What we know about Alex to come in the next era, it
Mm,
makes sense that he would reference Italian horror, Italian scores, because
sure.
he really seemed to have got into his European. It feels like he kind of went cowboy films, then sort of
Yeah,
classic films, 70s films like Scorsese and that, and then he got into European,
that's
which is
true.
I feel like he was just 10 years behind like because I remember that was my sort of gateway as a teenager. It was like, oh, these are 70s films and cowboy films, and then it was like, oh, what's European cinema doing? And that's kind of the path that you take, like
Mm.
particularly on a film course. But so yeah, I think he kind of started going through this education, and for better or worse, it's not really left him, has it? The whole European cinema vibe. Um, but then he goes into a kind of a full passage here, where she's again quite sexually explicit or direct. Leather clad and spike collar, I want you down on all fours because you're so dark, babe. But I want you hard, you're so dark, babe. Yeah, probably one of the most straightforward,
Probably the
sexiest
most
explicit he's ever
explicit
been.
he's probably ever been. Yeah. I mean, because there's lit on that one, like where we say, oh, you're sorry. And he could say, oh, I meant, I want. There's literally no other. There's no.
No. And also, because she's leather clad with a spike collar and she's on all fours, it's almost like he's marching around on all fours as well, like an animal,
Yeah.
as well as
He's the
obviously
Dom.
he's the Dom, yeah. And is he marching around the room, whipping her? Is he getting some kind of sexual pleasure from? Is she on all fours for another reason that we know we might be on all fours for? Two different reasons why you might be on all fours, I guess. All of the above. It's interesting because the way that he's described the woman, though, I always used to think, I think you'd be the one on the floor and she'd be the one walking around with the whip, the way that you've described her, to be
Mm,
quite honest, you know what I mean? I mean, this would be the other way around, Alex, with this girl, to be honest, but who knows? I don't think you'd be the Dom, my friend. But it's definitely the most kinky he's been as well. Like there hasn't been, I guess
yeah.
Humbug at times maybe Humbug kind of alluded close to that world, but not
Not like
enough to.
this.
Yeah, he had plausible deniability every time, and
Hmm.
in this album, obviously it makes sense that this would be the last track of this album. Like the album has been teetering on sex the whole time, and then he's just gone full blown at the end, sex like discussion. So yeah. I like it, but probably the last time he's been sexually explicit. First time and last time that he's been this direct sexually.
This
Make a
direct. I
difference?
still think he has some suggestive things in the next album for
Suggestive.
sure. Suggestive, yeah.
Oh, in the next album. Okay,
I think
interesting.
so.
I can't, you're probably right. I can't off the top of my head think of what they are. The
Mm.
Tranquility lyrics are ones that there's so many that I
Yeah.
have to like, do you know what I mean? It's quite a dense lyrical album, isn't it? Like, it's not like there's not a lot of repeats on Tranquility. He's kind of just talking a lot, isn't he? It's quite an interesting album. The lyrics discussions will be fucking long, so strap yourselves in for that, people. I can already tell you that. But he then says, moves into the bridge that we talked about, and he says, "I know you're nothing like mine, 'cause she's walking on sunshine." Which I really like. I didn't clip up the song. We all know the song that he's
Yeah,
referring
of
to, but
course.
I don't really like it either. But it's an interesting.
Katrina and the Waves. Is that the who sings that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was used in this advert for this holiday place here in the UK for years when we were kids, so I just can't stand hearing it. Like,
Yeah.
you just heard so much. But I like that as a reference, and it's something he's done quite a few times where he'll equate, list someone to something. He kind of does similar. It's kind of sort of number one party anthem and a bit of it as well, but just listing things that she's not to him is quite an
Yeah.
interesting concept. Like, because she's not the girl that rocks up and it's like a ray of sunshine on you. That's not her. And then, and your love would tear us apart is a great reference to Joy Division because that song is known obviously as a bit of a well, love would tear us apart is that kind of line, but also Joy Division are known as like a moodier.
Kind
That's the
of
type of band she might
gothier.
like,
Yeah,
gothier.
for
Yeah, people do. I
sure.
mean, I think they're quite uplifting and stuff, but I can see what people kind of latch onto that, and they're used in a lot of horror stuff. I've noticed Love Will Tear Us Apart again. It's using
Sure.
Donnie Darko at the horror party part, the horror Halloween party bit and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a nice use of that and a nice reference because I don't know how much they think of that band and stuff. So it's nice to get a reference in there. And obviously there was a Let's Dance to Joy Division, which kind of ruined everything. But he then goes into, and I know I'm not your type because I don't shun the daylight, but baby, I'm willing to start. So do you think this is someone he's seen that he thinks wouldn't go for a guy like him because he's so I can kind of relate to that. If I saw a girl out that was really hot that had like loads of tattoos and was gothic and that, I'd think, wow, I quite find her attractive, but I am not the guy that she wants. Like I am in no way that guy with the tattoos and is a bit that, so it just wouldn't work. She'd never go for me and find her attractive. Is he alluding to that? Alex, because he also isn't really that guy, is he? That like a girl like that would necessarily, even though I think he could get her because he's Alex Turner and he can seems to
Now, at this point, yeah.
most women put it into his hands usually.
Musicians
Yeah,
can pull girls like that
yeah,
because
yeah. They're
the
musicians,
musicians,
especially
yeah.
especially quite attractive, talented ones as well. But or is it just a so is he referencing that? He's because he is insecure, even though we know he's good looking, he has alluded to a lot of insecurity in the album. But or is it simply just a sort of cheeky reference to vampires? Or both?
Both, yeah. I mean, I think it's both because I don't shun the daylight, yeah. But one kind of special note I want to make that tied into a couple songs from the al or a couple things from the album that we talked about was, I mean, most of the time now, again, this is a jokey kind of song, but from the perspective aspect, I found it kind of interesting that a lot of times when Alex does, it's like even with Arabella, it's like reverent of the woman, right? And he's like putting her on a pedestal, or he's like confessing his love to her, or something like that. But if I remember, this is the first time for him to be like kind of devious in that, like, where he says, I know you're nothing like mine, like my girlfriend, like the one I'm with. She's a
Oh.
normal, like regular girl.
Oh.
She's walking on sunshine, and you're like this. So like, oh, you are the opposite of the woman I'm with, but I that makes me almost more attracted to you, and I'm willing to almost like leave her or to cheat on her to be with you. Like that's not usually his
Can I,
vibe.
and that's interesting, right? Because I completely forgot this. I don't know why I didn't say it. I actually have never thought that because
Hmm.
I thought the lyric, and because this is off like these lyrics aren't any official, unless you've got are the lyrics in the Vine.
No.
No, I always thought he said, "I know you're nothing like my," because she's walking on sunshine. As in,
Ah,
as a girl, she's not his. She's not like his usual like you're not my
type.
the you're right that the mine takes it down that road of you're not like my girlfriend and your love would tear us apart. I always thought that your love would tear us apart would mean like if even if we got together, the type of love you
Uh-huh.
give me would tear us apart. And I think what and I don't know what he says because to me it's still did you think he said mine or
I always thought he said mine, and
right?
specifically because he says, and your love would tear us apart. So I always
Mm,
thought he was referencing that.
yeah, probably. But no, I know he's referencing that, but I thought like your love would as in
I know, tear
your love
me and
what
you.
you
Yeah.
apart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but the mind does imply that. So it just depends on what he actually
Mm-hmm.
says, which we'll never know. But so I do like that idea that you're nothing like my current girlfriend because
Mm-hmm.
she's the kind of she walking on sunshine girl, which who is the Arabella girl, who is
Mm-hmm.
Ariel Vandenberg at this point. And this was recorded perhaps a bit later on
After, yeah.
after that when we know that fizzled out. Did last a long time. It lasted longer than this song coming out, but you know. Um, he's not that bad. But, he's not like me, Peak. No. But well, we don't know actually. We don't know what he gets up to be fair. But I know you're nothing like mine because she's working on Sunshine. Yeah, and your love will tear us apart. And I know I'm not your type because I haven't shown the day. Yeah, I can see it being eat like that as well. It's quite an interesting
Mm.
take that he's referring specific to the girl. But because I'd never considered it being mine, I didn't even clock onto that. You know.
Yeah, I always thought that, yeah.
Because you're nothing like mine. Yeah, it's hard to tell. It's one of them way, and you can't hear it. You can hear it
Mm-hmm.
even once you think it's one way, you can't hear it the other way. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those, and because we bloody don't know what the actual official lyrics
Yeah.
are, they should put the lyrics in every single. They should put the lyrics in the for
Yeah.
B-sides in there. It's a shame, really. But I think sometimes, although they have been wrong in the sleeve notes before, so it's
True.
really impossible to like. I don't know what goes on. I think they take the ones that he writes that he gives them, but then he might have changed them and forgot himself. That's genuinely what I think happens. But yeah, no, I like that. I like that idea. And he was in a relationship with someone who he's described throughout an album as a ray of sunshine almost, you know?
Yeah,
But it's interesting though, because the knee socks is later in the album, and the girl in knee socks could easily be this girl though. The girl in knee socks is
that's
more
true.
sexual in
Sexy
this
vibe.
promiscuous way than that. So this
Mm-hmm.
is does just feel like a good double bill. Like if you know if it was the 70s and you were going to go to your local cinema and watch a double bill, it would be knee socks and you're so dark. But that's cool. That I like that. So the Shun the Daylight, yeah, you just think both a
Yeah, just
reference,
it's a
yeah,
but yeah, vampire reference, yeah.
but also like
But
maybe
also too, those girls are
she
usually
wouldn't.
very, very pale, which means because they're inside reading the books and they don't get out.
And and also very particular. So I would imagine why he would think a girl like that wouldn't be into him, because that does happen, you know, because you're
Sure.
so
Oh yeah,
different.
sure.
they want a guy that's like them more, than you,
Hmm.
like, But the high school football star doesn't get with the goth girl, does he? Apart from in every 90s
Yeah.
film. Oh, it turns out if you take off her glasses, she's really attractive. So
Whoa, who would have
that
thought?
who would have thought this clearly attractive, beautiful woman, if we just took her glasses off, it would be attractive. What do they call it? They call it the ugly duckling syndrome of the 90s. But so then he kind of ends with lines we've heard, but kind of changed a bit. He says, "Got your H.P. Lovecraft, your Edgar Allan Poe, Poe. Got your unkind of ravens, got your murder of crows. You're so dark, but I want you hard." Repeated, 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 and it's yeah, repeat at the end there, but really nice, sexy song, like with again, not a lot of depth, but a lot of cool reference, a lot of funny references, a lot of cool references, and
Sure, yeah.
it is hard to toe that line, and he does it really well in this one of
I
an
think, yeah,
interesting
like I
reference.
said, my favorite like jokey kind of song that he has.
Do you think because of that they felt like if it went on the album and had like Munster Coach-esque lyric, it would be too. But then they put, like I said, they put "Don't Sit Down"
Don't
on
Sit
there, and
Down,
that stuff
Brick
was
by
like,
they
dude,
literally just put Brick by Brick on an album.
and like fucking. Although no, this can't have been on the album. That's why they didn't put it on. Duh. We've just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
confirmed that. Yeah, okay, so we can't really have that discussion anymore. We can for us, but we can't talk about why they didn't put it on
They did.
because
Yeah, I don't think they chose not to put it on. Yeah.
no, no. Do you think if it had been written around the same time that they would have considered it?
Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe.
I think if Stop the World didn't exist and this one existed earlier, I would still have it on over Snap Out of It personally. Um, but like I, yeah, I think, because I think, yeah, Don't Sit Down, like, do the Macarena in the Devil's Lair, like, that's
Yeah, yeah.
stupid. You know what I mean? So it's
I think
like,
they would be
they're not
fine
above
with it
it.
being on the album. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
although
don't think
this
the
one did.
lyrics would be what would keep it from being on the
I
album.
don't think that. I think even when they've been serious album, they've still done that. Like when we do Tranquility, he's still having a lot of fun with the lyrics, even though it's this serious artistic
Sure,
album.
sure.
He's never got rid of that. He's never dropped. Maybe a bit in the car, which we can talk about then. Maybe there's less. No, no, actually, no, because he talks about fucking uh, really random British pop culture stuff from the 90s in that. So yeah, maybe not. But that's that. That's the lyrics. Do you have anything else to say on them, or? It's the
No,
last lyric section of AM.
that's
Justin,
it.
done.
That's all the
Done
lyrics,
it.
and it was
Completed
horror
it.
themed. I appreciate that.
Hey, hey, but looking to the future, we do have a little bit of some stuff here.
Listening to the shipping forecast.
Have you turned anyone on to that song from the horror world, by the way, that isn't an Arctic Monkeys fan? Have you ever
Oh, sure,
got
yeah.
fans
Like
of
I
it?
said, it's on. Yeah, it's on a lot of horror playlists
Nice.
and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. It did make its way onto my the chilled evening players for holiday. And like
Sure.
it's like, yeah, I want to hear that one at night. So you sent me the other day, this week of recording, which is we're currently recording this on Thursday, the 14th of August. So on Monday or Tuesday this week, Mr. Matthew J. Helders the third dropped a song that he has collabed on with an artist called Niam. I got that right.
Yeah, I have
It's
it on my
yeah,
Spotify.
Naeem. Sorry, Naeem, who's the rapper on this, and Spank Rock did the music, and Mr. Matt Helders played a part in this. I have clipped up a bit of it where maybe we can perhaps. Here's where I think Helders contributes, but we can perhaps discuss that
Hmm.
and let's have a listen to it.
President killer, lawyer on the line, and I'm chasing 9 figures. Bankroll killer, president killer, lawyer on the line, and I'm chasing 9 figures.
Clean stains of the rotted sun. Green color of my true love. Never be new.
I think that is quite clearly Helders because it
Yes,
sounds like
that
the
is him
falsettos that
singing. Yes.
which is quite interesting that we've just got to AM at the end of AM when he dropped this because it is more in line with AM. Perhaps a taste of some of the stuff that he was involved in the
Working on, yeah.
studio. I have to say I really love this. I've listened to it loads since you sent it me. I've listened to it loads of times. His particularly Helders bit, the backing vocals that we
Hmm.
to be. I fucking love this track. Like this has become this week has been on a loop for me a lot of the days, like when I'm just pottering around. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, he
I was
just threw
interested
it
to
up
get
on
your
his
thoughts though, because you're
story. Yeah, he just threw it up on his story. So I haven't had time to, I want to like explore the album more to see like to be more familiar with this artist,
Oh, is
I'd
it on
say.
an album?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
so
it's
I
a whole
did.
album. Yeah.
Oh, that was just a single release, so I didn't know it was tied to an album. But so here I did do a bit of digging, and I have an interesting connection here as to why Helders is on this album.
Okay.
So did he say I featured on this song on his
Yeah, he
story or
posted a
something? Yeah.
story that said I sang on this album and it came out today or something.
Okay, so Naeem is a Baltimore-born, Los Angeles-based artist. He's spent most of the last decade stretching his creative legs in a variety of ways. He toured with Bon Iver, Mouse of Mars. Not Bon Iver, I would say Bon Iver, but it's not, is it? It's Bon Iver.
Bon Iver,
Bon Iver,
yeah.
but Bon Iver. That's such an English way of saying it. And then, and he basically had a residency in Amsterdam, as well, where he played. And here, I was looking at his songs, and his most played tracks, track four, a song called Woo Woo Woo, features Amanda Blank, who is Helder's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because she's a rapper. And by the way, I heard her rapping on the song, and I did not expect her voice to be. She raps like like Missy Elliott, not Missy Elliott. Yeah, yeah, I think Missy Elliott. Who does who's the rapper, the female rapper? But she sings like a proper like hardcore rap, like that kind of
Kim? Little
style that you
Kim?
get. Yeah, maybe she has
She's
a
a
proper.
singer?
She's a proper rapper, like
Oh.
in her raps, like it, I wasn't expecting her to be. So she's not. So she obviously knows this guy, and she's done a track with him before, and now Helders. Is it off the album that this is off? No, I don't think. I don't think this isn't off an album. This is just a single because
Oh, really? Okay.
the guy's last album was 2020.
Yeah, okay.
So he didn't. He's only got one album, 2020, and then he's just dropped a load of singles over the years. But this is
Okay.
one of them. So he did a song with her on his 2020 album, Amanda Blank, and it's a really
Hmm.
really good track. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't give a shit. I blow up like tick tick tick. Y'all bitches act like you take that.
all that. But yeah, she's not how I was expecting her to sing. But so yeah, there's the link, and I think it's a really good track. Yeah, and I can't wait to hear if there's any more stuff that he's done. And
Yeah.
I wonder if he's not said it, but he produced this album that this guy's got coming out because
Could be. That
he
could
was
be some
clearly
of the
doing
stuff, yeah.
he was clearly doing the music right. He was playing samples and stuff. So unless he wouldn't be allowed to just play someone else's stuff on his Instagram, and like it's obviously alluding
True.
to him doing something. So I am very excited to hear more based off what I've heard. And he's got very good backing. He's got very good BVs still. We don't
Hmm.
hear as much of it, do we, anymore? But he can still rock it. But that does throw a bit of cold water on the whole Arctic Monkeys hip hop album, I would
True.
say, that release. By the way, we did give an update on the album last week, and there was a bit more of an update as well. I think you said about the website changing, didn't you?
Yeah.
Um, and there was some stuff about the uh, graphic. No,
Spotify took something away about
Spotify.
the car, like promote the car out now. They took that away or something.
Yeah, and there was something else that got changed on the website as well. There was a bit more like, okay, that's interesting as well. I can't remember exactly what it was,
They
but
did
to
the
throw a
newsletter. They opened the newsletter and they took the
yes,
promotion off the car.
yeah, and just to throw a bit of uh kind of balance the other
Mm.
way. Somebody pointed out that the newsletter terms of use say we will use the information you give to us based on your consent to provide you with our fan newsletters or mail outs, which may include information about records, concerts, or other goods or services we offer. This may relate to Arctic Monkeys or any related artists, such as solo projects, collaborations, or bands featuring a member of the Arctic Monkeys. So there is a
Mm.
school of thought that Domino have produced whatever Helders he's doing,
Nah.
and they're gonna. But I would say to throw that back the other way, they haven't promoted this new track that he's put out with this artist.
That's
So if
true.
that is part of it, then they haven't really done that. So I don't know. It's still up in the air. I think there is kind of if it wasn't August, I'd be thinking, are they just going to start the whole 20th anniversary first album stuff now, and they're going to drop
Could
like some
be.
interesting. you think we're gonna get that like an interesting vinyl that has some
I
ex like
hope so, man. Like, here's the thing about it. I know that they don't want to involve them, or they're like, we had that little quote where somebody said, once Alex is done with something, he's kind of done with it, moves on. And I get that. I appreciate that. Like, you do your thing, but like, you're a kind of like conglomerate at this point. Like, like you're not just these four dudes in a practice room anymore. Like,
Mm.
this is a culturally impactful, significant album that has only been fueled by getting more like new young fans through like come on, Domino's gotta release something special to commemorate this album. Like they need to do something.
Well, what I will say is, I think it's fine that Alex, like, I think what that quote meant was like, he's done with like that sound
Yeah,
and that
sure.
style and his look, and he reinvents the whole
Yes,
thing, right?
yes.
This stuff about releasing stuff is barely even banned. This is record label shit. Record label Domino will own the rights to these songs so that they can put them out like on vinyls and stuff. They probably don't even need the band's permission to put stuff together.
Mm.
They probably do consult with them because why would you want to do anything to tarnish
But
the
like,
relationship?
do they
But I
have
think
like all the extra stuff? Like if they wanted to do like demos and like stuff
yeah,
like
they'll own
that.
every Domino
Okay.
will have.
No,
There's no way Domino don't have a contract that gives them ownership over anything that
that's
happens
true, I guess.
in the
Yeah.
studio that they're paying for and the
That's
producer that they're
true. That's
paying to do it.
true.
Like
That's true.
James, they pay James Ford. They do it. So there's
Mm.
no way that they don't have it. So if they wanted to
Mm.
drop a vinyl with, which may just be, I mean, radio, for example, Radiohead do it all the time. They've just got a new one coming out now of live songs from 2003 to 2009 of Hail to the Thief, right? Do I think Tom York sat there going, let's release this? No, it's Radiohead do albums so sparingly now that the record label have to keep constantly releasing stuff just to make some money
Sure,
off the
yeah.
back of it. I don't think like the band really get involved in a lot of shit like this. I think it's probably, you okay with us doing this? Should we put something together? Do you want to see
Mm.
what we're
Well,
doing?
yeah. I
There's
hope
no
they
way they're gonna.
do. I hope they release something. I
I
think they
can't see that.
should.
I can't see them letting what was the fastest selling debut British album of all time
Yeah.
pass by unnoticed. So there's no
But I
way 20.
mean, the 10-year anniversary, absolutely nothing happened. And at that time, the Monkees were in their longest hiatus that they had ever had. Now, of course, you had Last
We were
Shadow
milking AM for
Puppets.
shit, but yeah.
But I mean,
Um,
still, they didn't do anything for
yeah.
10 years. So I think
I
they
don't think
should do something for 20 years.
I can't think of a lot of albums where they do a 10-year thing. I think 20 years is usually the marker, you know. I'm trying to
Okay.
think of a lot any sort of 10-year anniversary ones I've got that aren't smaller bands
Yeah.
like I got a block there's a Block Party 10-year one of that album, but I mean, they're not making a lot of money off.
Yeah.
They've not done much since. So but yeah, I could see them doing some but what it'll probably I don't think there's probably a lot of stuff that what I could see it being is just a vinyl that has all the tracks on it of the era and it has a live gig or something. I can't, or maybe some demos would be nice, obviously.
Demo would be great. Yeah.
I'd like to hear that version of the album, which the record label definitely has, where it lasted about 10 minutes that James Ford recorded
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they just did it live. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff, and they're not going to let it go unnoticed. I mean, we don't know till January, but what I was trying to get at was I started to think, is it that? But they'd be preparing for that way too early. Like
Mm,
we're not going to get the dance floor 20th anniversary till October. So I
true.
can't see them changing the website now. So it does feel like something's going on or something like that.
Yeah.
Imagine if they just announced they're doing a tour of just the first album.
I don't think
I
so. I don't think
don't think
that's
that's gonna
possible.
happen.
Nope.
I don't
Nope.
think that's
Nope.
gonna.
No.
We can dream. But that's the news. That's the Arctic Monkeys news. If anything happens to it, there is a few weeks for this in the wrap up, so there is space for us recording
Sure.
it. So there is space for something to happen. So we will see. But let's move into our favorite lyrics of this. I was going to say album then. The favorite lyrics of this B side.
Too busy with the mind on clever lines.
I think because it's the line that there's a lot of lines to like in this, but because it's the line that makes me smile the most, and when I think of the song, it probably comes to mind the most. It's probably, and you're so mysterious, got that obsession with death. I saw you driving your Prius, and even that was Monster Coach-esque.
Yeah. I actually like so the one I pointed out, and I know I'm not your type. Oh no, no, no. No, okay, never mind. So I picked, and I know I'm not your type because I don't shun the daylight, but baby, I'm willing to start. Like I just thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. I think from a performance point of view, I do really love you watch Italian horror and you listen to the scores. Like it's just so over the top. But it's in keeping with Tranquility quite a lot that actually. Because the last track always seems to lend itself to the next era, doesn't it? But
Yeah, it's dramatic, yeah.
because we have a 5 year gap, it's not as easy for us to do that this time. But yeah, the performance, Tranquility is it's why I never understood why we never got loads of gigs where they just did Tranquility because it feels like a performance album. It feels like they're doing
Yeah.
something like formative. So yeah, but so they have that in similar. But I think Musical Moment. I think there's only one way we can both go, isn't there? But well, we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Bad sounds in your ear that make you get up and down.
Bass. It's all
It's
about
gotta
that
be
bass.
bass. And if anything, this is the one, this is just another show that, like, oh, maybe Nick was really watered down for the album. I mean, because you got this song and this song is so sexy, sexy bass.
Yeah, it's one of them. We can talk about it on the wrap up, I think, where it's it's like I hear it in knee socks and this why it'd be so good, but I also can't. I also understand Do I Want to Know and Why Do You Only Come When You're High and One for the Road being quite subdued. I can't. Maybe One for the Road had scope, but I can't imagine Why Do You Only Come When You're High with a more intrusive bass line at this point,
Sure,
or
sure,
Do I Want to
sure.
Know? So Do I Want to Know as well is so controlled that it's hard to imagine that with anything but that, right? Like that barely goes out of anyone's. Everyone is in line in that track,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, but we can talk about that on the wrap up, perhaps. But yeah, I think One for the Road is a track that could have had more scope for bass and Arabella maybe.
Yeah.
But but yeah, we'll get into that. And much more on the wrap up. I think a shout out to the drums as well. Elders is doing some crazy drum transitions throughout this track the whole way through. They're just not as
But
prominent.
controlled, which also kind of hints at the next
Very
iteration.
controlled. So we don't have a hot take because I think that whole should it be on the album we should say for the wrap up because we are adding a very special section to the wrap up this time where we discuss the album and where we'd put tracks and what we'd put on. We'd make our own album, each of us. And yeah. Um,
That's it.
That's it. I don't have an AI this week because there's no track to introduce. So on the wrap up, I will do an AI of the whole era to
Yeah,
sum it up
yeah.
at the end. But there's nothing. So that's that. We
Yeah,
are.
that's it.
That's
That's
a wrap, as
AM.
they
That's a
say.
wrap. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apart
thanks
from
for
the wrap
joining
up.
us. Of course. Yeah, but thanks for joining us for each one of the track breakdowns.
Yeah, and
Deep dives, track deep
deep
dives
dives, and we'll obviously be back with the wrap up next week, probably over 2 weeks, and then we'll be gone,
for a
but
little
we
bit.
will for a little bit.
Gone
But as I
but
say,
not
there's
forgotten.
hopefully. But as I say that we will not be gone at all on the
No, not
Patreons
really. Yeah.
again, patreon.com/Arctic podcast. And we will also be
I'll have
you
special
know,
episodes coming out too. And
I
we're
think as
here.
well, once we're past our kind of September, October busy periods, we'll probably be starting to discuss when we're going to record Tranquility, aren't we? So we'll be figuring that out and getting that done, and that'll be a very different series, I feel. So this is probably the last until the car like kind of normal structure, perhaps on normal episode, we're going to do an auteur series of Don't Believe the Hype to match the auteur series of Tranquility Face. We'll see what we can figure out.
Every
But yeah,
episode we're gonna be wearing suits or some shit.
suits, yeah. I'm gonna have a
No,
goatee
I'm
when I
not
come
wearing
back.
it.
I'm gonna shave my head and have a goatee.
I am not doing that.
Um, I don't think my girlfriend would let me have a goatee. But yeah, we'll be back then. But yeah, we'll be back next week. We're up what we're talking about. I'm saying goodbye like it's a goodbye. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
goodbye,
But yeah, it
but
is. I
it
mean, it's
feels
a
like
big moment though. End of AM, yeah. End of
it's a
the
big,
AM
it's a big
TikTok trip.
album, big,
Yeah.
crazy album. So yeah, it is a bit crazy that it's over, but yeah, I think we're going from the big commercial album to the interesting like cult album, aren't we? It's quite a
Mm.
transition. But yeah, thank you for listening to every track. Come back for the wrap up because there's loads still to touch, loads to discuss. I'm sure we're going to get into a lot of battles, and we got Simon Love coming on.
Yeah.
So he had his opinions, didn't he, on some of the tracks that we weren't completely on board with. So it's going to be a battle royale, you might say. We'll see, but in a friendly way. So we will, yeah, we'll see you next week for the wrap up then. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you for joining us. See you next week.
Bye.
Don't Believe the Hype is hosted and produced weekly by Justin Toole and Dan Holt. The music used in the titles is royalty-free music courtesy of Les FM. Don't forget to subscribe on your podcast player of choice to be notified every Wednesday when a new episode is released. Sign up with us on Patreon to get exclusive content including coverage of The Last Shadow Puppets, Arctic Monkeys adjacent album reviews, and concert watch-alongs. If you want to help us out further, be sure to like and review to help make us more visible to like-minded souls. We'll see you next week with more of the same.